The pit in your stomach, the sweat on your palms,
Settle in.
the fear that someone else is better.
Be ready to go here. Clear, clear, clear. Hit your rhythm here.
On this concrete,
Here we go.
speed lives on the edge of what's safe
3, 2, 1.
and what it takes to win.
Down, man.
Side by side. Holding strong on that outside.
1 mile, where tires turn to shreds and dreams go to die.
Go all right to the left.
Pass for the lead right here.
Don't really know what to expect.
There's a lot that's out of your control.
On the back straightaway. At any point, I feel like I could crash.
Corner, clear.
Silence the doubt. Push to the breaking point and put fear in your rear view mirror.
Coming to the checker here, baby.
It's
Hell yeah.
race day at Dover.
It is certainly one of the scariest tracks on the schedule. Just 1 mile long in size, but endless in challenges for the drivers in those race cars. There are some who are masters of the monster and others who leave with more fear than they arrived with. 400 miles, and it is as intense as it gets. It's the Monster Mile, and we, of course, are here to get you set for it as we say hello. Welcome to Race Day here on FS1. I'm Shannon Spake. He's America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds, and, of course, the Daytona 500 champ, Jamie McMurray. 1 week ago, we were at Talladega, a place where you expect to see big wrecks. But this place can be destructive in a sneaky way, right?
Yeah, it's a 1 mile racetrack, and some of the wrecks we've seen there, you go, oh my gosh, is that footage from Daytona and Talladega? But what makes it unique? Yeah, we've got 24 degrees of banking in the corners, but the straightaways are banked 9 degrees. That's more banking than some tracks have in the corners, and you'll see a car get into the wall, exit of turn 2, turn 4, back across the racetrack in front of the field. Next thing you know, we've got a multi-car wreck. We have seen several wrecks there that involve 10 or more cars.
Yeah, and part of the reason you have those big wrecks is because of how fast it is. No matter what driver you interview, when they run their first few laps at this track, they all get out and they're like, oh, I wasn't breathing. It's so fast here, and it's hard to get used to it. And it's one of those tracks that not only does it test the driver, but it really tests the car. If there's an issue with your car, a weakness of your car, you will find it at Dover.
And you have said before that some of your hardest hits came
Absolutely,
at Dover,
yeah,
right?
at this place.
I like the black shirt, by the way,
thank you.
Jamie.
Yeah, I'm parking cars later, Shannon. Yes.
Today. Here are our lead lap stories. As a result of the hard impact last week at Talladega, Eric Jones suffered a compression fracture in his back. He is out. 21-year-old Corey Heim replaces him today. We'll hear from Heim in a bit. Three-time Dover winner Kyle Busch won the pole for today's race. A good shot in the arm for that team. And Tyler Reddick won Talladega, but of course his team's co-owner, a 6-time NBA champion, he made big headlines at Victory Lane.
And around goes the 34, and Reddick steals one.
Victory lane.
Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan will get to celebrate as car owners.
Denny keeps saying I was bad luck when I come to the track. And today we proved him wrong. You ready to celebrate?
Bo Reddick, I mean, he has no idea, right?
The GOAT's holding him.
Awesome. He's going to have that moment forever.
So this to me is like an NBA playoff game. I am so ecstatic. And for us to win a big race like this, I mean, it means so much to me. And I'm all in. I'm all in.
That was awesome. So that's the first time that Michael Jordan was able to celebrate a victory in Victory Lane. Talladega is a perfect place to do it. And we've had a lot of crossover owners in this sport. But to have Michael Jordan, one of the most famous athletes ever, not just good for the sport, but good for that entire team down there when he is there.
It is, and if you look at having the Jordan brand on a car, I think that takes like this casual fan, and all of a sudden they have some interest in NASCAR because they recognize that. To have him in Victory Lane, that's huge. But I think that moment of him, look at this, look at him on pit road. Think about if you're one of these crew guys, and I think of Michael Jordan, the ultimate recruitment tool for 23XI, because if you're a pit crew guy and you're debating on what team you want to go to, and you think if we win, I get to high five Michael Jordan on Victory Lane on pit road, I think that's a good selling point.
There is no doubt that happened last week. I think it moved the needle. When I got home Sunday night, I started seeing videos and pictures on different networks and different shows about this man right there celebrating in victory lane as a co-owner in a NASCAR race. You got to make a case that this guy's one of the most famous athletes we've ever had.
For sure.
And here he is, an owner in NASCAR, but not only an owner in NASCAR, the owner of an operation that is winning races, that's doing what he did for all those years playing basketball, but he is all in. He's not just talking the talk, he's walking the walk. He is there in the trenches with these guys now almost every single race weekend.
And I love it because we're so used to seeing such an intense Michael Jordan when he was actually playing.
Yeah.
Man, was he having a good time. And we're going to have a good time today out in Dover. The last 3 Dover races, the driver who led the most laps did not win the race. It is never over in Dover. And here's what's around the turn.
The need for speed is revving up as Miles gets ready to chase down the competition. Starting us off is Corey Heim, who's accepting the challenge today as he subs in for Eric Jones after suffering a back injury in Talladega. Then we'll switch gears to hear from 4-time Dover winner Martin Truex Jr. as he's looking to escape any monstrosities today. Bubba Wallace is going live with us trackside, followed by the formidable Ryan Blaney, both hungry for their first win on this 1-mile shorty. And last, but definitely not least, the man who conquered Dega for 23:11 in dashing fashion, Tyler Reddick, joins the show. That and more as race day rolls on.
What does it take to become a legend? Generations of victory?
One of the great masters of the sport.
Motor oil in your veins? Does it take irrational confidence? A little bit of last lap magic? What about fandom that runs in the family? A track where every mile becomes a memory. Or maybe it's simply knowing that new legacies are built one lap at a time.
Welcome back to Race Day. See, I get to hang out with Larry and Jamie, fans at the racetrack. They get to hang out with Miles the Monster, of course. That's who greets them as they enter the track. He is larger than life, kind of like our monster of NASCAR news, Bob Pockrass. Here's the business with Bob.
It's the business with Bob.
Eric Jones is sidelined here today at Dover after suffering a compression fracture in his lower back in a hard crash Sunday at Talladega, a crash that registered around 70 Gs.
Yeah, Darlington is definitely, goal for sure at the latest to be back. I would love to obviously come back. Next week, Kansas, obviously that's going to be dependent on the appointment later next week, seeing how that looks, take some more scans.
Jones will be replaced by Corey Heim, the full-time Truck Series driver for Tricon, who also serves as a simulator and reserve driver for Legacy. Jones said he didn't think much about not being in the car this weekend until he got here at the track.
It's tougher when you get here and, you see the suits hanging up in your closet and you wake up, practice day, you don't get to put those on today and someone else has got to do it. That was probably the tougher part for me.
Jones will do his best to help Heim in his Cup debut. He'll also just do his best not to sneeze, as that is when his back hurts the most. And that's the business with Bob.
Good to see Eric at the racetrack. And listen, Larry, you can't predict when injuries happen in any sport, but the way that he's handled this situation, being at the track for Corey and that team, really says a lot about Eric as a person and as a professional.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to go to Dover. He didn't maybe had to could show up for the race, but he has been there all weekend long to support Corey Heim, to be there for someone to lean on, to be there for that race team. This ended a streak of 262 consecutive starts for Eric in the Cup Series. How coincidental is it the first time he raced in the Cup Series was at Bristol in the spring of 2015 when Denny Hamlin had to get out of that 11 car fighting neck spasms, and now here Corey Heim is making his first start for the injured Eric Jones.
It has to be the hardest thing for a driver to watch someone else get in their car, and he referenced that he was kind of okay with it until you see another driver get in your suit. But I'm with Larry. I think it almost, he's been through this on the other side, and I think that eases the situation a little bit, knowing what the other driver is feeling like.
Yeah, and of course it's an opportunity, but also probably a lot of pressure for the 21-year-old Corey Heim, who is standing by with our very own Regan Smith out in Dover.
Well, Shannon, what a huge opportunity for Corey Heim today, hopping into his first Cup Series race in the 43 car as we build up to you making this start today. Is it everything you thought it would be?
Just so different. So many people here. I'm not used to this, and it's such a big such a big event compared to what I'm used to. So, I'm definitely blessed to be here. Super thankful for Legacy Motor Club, Dollar Tree. Our Camry has been really good so far, and I'm really looking forward to the race today. Certainly I've worked on it a lot, and I feel like I'm ready.
Feel like you're ready. A couple more curveballs thrown to you. Crew Chief Dave Allen's not going to be here today. Had a family situation to tend to at home. Joey Cohen on the box now. It's all new to you, but you've got a lot to put into play as you start this race today. How do you make sure you get all that stuff and don't forget anything?
For sure, yeah. I mean, my job is to hold down this 43 camp the best I can, and Dave had some family matters he had to take care of. So just doing the best I can for this group and hoping that I can fill the void for Eric. And, my job is to come and do the best I can possibly do. So just once again, huge thank you for everyone at Legacy Motor Club, Toyota Racing for all they do for me, and looking forward to it.
All right, Shannon, he's a 6-time Truck Series winner. Going to make that debut today. Excited about it.
Yeah, he seems so calm, but you got to think he's sitting at that driver's meeting going, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so. I'm going to be on the track with them. I mean, this is something that you experienced in your own career.
Yeah, he's nervous. There is no doubt about it. I think back to my experience when I filled in for Sterling. It's everything from just getting on the track, and all of a sudden you're on the track. For me, I remember Jeff Gordon being in my rearview mirror, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm on the track with Jeff Gordon right now.
You feel him very well.
He's out there with Kyle Larson, these guys. You go to the driver's meeting, he talked about, it is a lot to take in. I had severe upset stomach, would be the right words, the entire week leading up. Because, look, as a kid, you've worked for this your whole life. You want to race on Sundays, and he's finally there. And I would say for him, it's about just making the most of your situation. A little bit different for me. When I filled in for Sterling, that was a car that it had won earlier in the year. They actually led the points up to that. Obviously, the 43 car, we don't think is a car that contends to win every single week. So go out, learn, make the most of your experience.
Yeah, of course, two guys at the racetrack who probably have a lot to add on this conversation. Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick standing by with Chris Myers. Hi, guys.
Hey, hi, Shannon. And by the way, great sunshine, people in shorts, T-shirts. We're dressed up at a range of 25 to 30 degrees from yesterday to how they'll race today. How about Corey Heim? He said he's been dreaming of this since age 5. What are the realistic expectations?
First of all, how about getting a call to get into 43, the most iconic race car on this racetrack with this awesome paint scheme, goes right back to Richard Petty days. Wonderful opportunity. This is the right kid. The things that he needs to do, go out and run all the laps. Do not try to outperform this race car. Get what the car gives you. Take the learning experience as that and make all the laps, Kevin.
Yeah, and I think these situations obviously have presented themselves a lot as we've gone through the past in this sport. I think when you listen to Corey Heim talk, I think the expectation that he has for himself is to be competitive, and that's the confidence. I know when I had the opportunity to do the things that I did, I expected to get in that car and be competitive, because that was just the arrogance that you have as a younger driver, and the confidence that you have, and you have to have that. You have to be able to be confident in your abilities, but like Clint said, finish all the laps. This is not going to be what you prepared for. It's going to be much different when you get out on the racetrack.
Well, it's a monster, by the way.
Yeah,
you got to respect the monster.
He's the last Ford driver to win here. Our announcer, Kevin. And by the way, no driver making his Cup debut at Dover has won this race. That's how challenging it is. I'm glad that Eric Jones is doing better under the circumstances. My goodness, 70 G's. I thought that's what they were paying you guys to do this. But the force of something like that.
It's more than we deserve, Chris.
That's how you guys have handled something near that. What's that feel like?
What's it feel like, man? Pull this race car on top of you. That is an unbelievable hit. I think the only people that we know, are linebackers that we watch on a Sunday.
A jet pilot, right? A fighter pilot.
Oh, they don't even hit 70
really?
G's. 70? I'm talking massive impacts. We saw it last weekend, and as soon as we saw it, Kevin, both and I went, oh man, what a hit.
Well, we've seen some big hits in this car, and obviously, the car is, you could debate whether it's good or bad or how it crashes. That doesn't really matter.
There's nothing that crashes good.
There's nothing that crashes good. Eric Jones is hurt. His back is hurt. He had a massive impact. NASCAR is going to do everything in their power to figure out why he got hurt. I think that's the most important thing, is our sport evolves and NASCAR evolves with it. They don't get enough credit for the things that they do, whether it's soft walls or car development or anything along the safety lines. They work on it every single day, and they will have a conclusion as to why this happened.
Yeah, and we'll hope to see him Darlington, if not sooner, a healthy return for Erik Jones. We'll continue with these guys as they get you ready for the race that they will be calling. We're going to talk with Martin Truex Jr. His first win last year came here, and then he went on a tear. He's done well, done everything really except win a race so far this year. Bubba Wallace will be chatting with him as well. And Kyle Larson is going to drop by. We're live where it's happening on FS1.
Coming to the checker here, baby. Hell yeah.
Name the artist Jamie McMurray. Who's the artist that sings that song? Come on. It's not
Stump the Maxes on Saturday.
It's Flock of Seagulls. It's not that guy right there. Richard Petty, take a look. I mean, it's always cool when you get to see the king walking around the racetrack. You know, those fans are loving it down there. Fans getting ready for their favorite drivers to climb in the race car. Let's show you where some of those guys are starting today's race.
I will start with the front row. You got Kyle Busch. 19 straight years he's been able to win a race, Shannon. Looking for his first win this year. And beside him, Ryan Blaney also looking for his first win. Finished third here 1 year ago.
Let's go back to row 2. William Byron finished fourth here a year ago after leading 193 laps. Right now, it's sitting on 5 consecutive top 10s. Tyler Reddick finally got that win at Talladega, broke a 17-race winning streak. Never had a top 5 at Dover. Let's go back to row 7. Joey Logano, 41 races since that last win. He has 4 consecutive Xfinity Series wins at Dover, but has never won there in 27 starts. Daniel Hemrick finally gets a top 10 at Talladega last week.
Yeah, all the way down to row 11 for me. You see Kyle Larson won here in 2019. He's led almost 900 laps at this racetrack. Beside him, Ross Chastain, no wins yet this year, but he's been in the top 3 in both Gen 7 starts at Dover.
Let's jump back to row 8. You got a couple of Toyotas right there. 4 wins on the season for that manufacturer. Bubba Wallace and, of course, 4-time Dover winner Martin Truex Jr. Let's hear from both of those guys, starting with Martin Truex Jr., who's with Chris Clint and Kevin at the track.
And enjoying the sunshine. Thank you very much, those of you in Charlotte. Boy, of the last 27 races here at Dover, 25 have been won by champions of NASCAR. It's certainly one of those, 3 out of 4 actually. On Mondays, you're very successful. See how they do on a Sunday in the sun. And last year, Martin, was your first win of the year at this point, and then you started a stretch of 3 wins over the next 10. So you're up there in points. Are you looking forward to capturing that momentum now at this race this time?
Yeah, for sure. I think, this has always been a good place for us, and I think, not really sure what we're going to have today. The weather's so different. I think it's going to be interesting, but more similar to last year's conditions than yesterday was. So hopefully that's good for us. But feel great about my team and what we're doing. We've been right there. Just need to capitalize on the speed we've had, and hopefully we can do that today.
What makes this place fit your driving style? Why do you think you're so successful here?
I don't really know, honestly, Kevin. I think, we all have tracks that we enjoy, and we seem to fit for whatever reason. And for me, I just always feel like since I started coming here, I've always ran well. And even on down years where my cars maybe weren't that fast, we always came here and ran well. So I like the place. That's always a start. I remember the first time I came here, I was scared to death.
Yeah.
And by the end of the race, I got going. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And since then, I took to it, and I've always enjoyed it.
Well, it's home, guys. I mean, it's always better at home, but family, boy, younger brother keeps putting the pressure on you, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to have to, from last year, we did the double, so
and by the way, he won yesterday.
Yeah, he did. He did a great job.
Tempo.
He snuck up on him at the end there. Hopefully, we can do that today if we don't have the best car. But
yeah, it's some good comments afterwards, too, about the strategy and handling things.
Yeah, very exciting. Very big day for us, and it'd be another great Truex weekend if we can do it today.
Absolutely.
So tell us, you talked about the temperature. Tell us the challenges of this next-gen car, because you're really never comfortable any lap, it seems, but you don't know how far the tires are going to go. You don't know where you want to run on the racetrack, but you got to go somewhere besides where the car is in front of you. So tell us about the challenges that come with all the unknowns today.
Yeah, I think today's going to be a whole different situation than yesterday. The rubber should go down. The groove is going to get wide. It's going to be all about moving around and finding some way to make your car comfortable. Last year we won here, but the first half of the race I was really, really struggling, just out of control, just loose and not a lot of grip, and feeling really on edge. So you got to be smart and take care of it when it's not where you need it. It's going to change a lot today. So keeping up with the track and trying to keep that track position at the same time is always the challenge.
Got a little business to do, some cars to pass, starting mid-pack. How do you do that? As this groove moves around that you're talking about, where do you like to pass? How do you set them up? Are you patient, let the car come to you?
Well, I hope I'm the only one that can wrap the bottom. That's always,
there you go.
That's always the easiest way. But yeah, I mean, you just got to move around and go where they're not and hope that your car is capable of that.
We hear that this is so difficult, and we know it's a crowded monster mile, but you've done well enough here. Why is this one of the most difficult tracks? And do you feel, where does it rank on, despite your success here, in terms of just a tough track to run on?
It's just the banking and the speed. I think, you come here and you get a higher sense of speed than probably anywhere we go. It's just really, really fast, really treacherous if you get out of control. We seen a guy yesterday, you get loose off of 4, next thing you know, you're in the wall. So it's just, you're really, really on edge and you're carrying a ton of speed. There's no room for error.
All right, well, thanks for coming by. Good luck today, as always. We really enjoyed talking to you. And to your brother.
Sweet time. Get broom out.
Yeah, man. All right, let's check in with Jamie Little. Jamie?
Well, Chris, it's hard to miss the paint scheme for the 23 for Bubba Wallace here this weekend. The Air Force is on board, and you got to go over to Dover Air Force Base just up the road. What was that visit like?
Oh, man, so fun. I've always wanted to. And we've done some stuff in the past with the 43 over there. But what I really got to do is aside from meeting all the amazing women and men over there in the Airmen, I got to see A-10. That was super cool, which is what our scheme is based off of, the Flying Tiger scheme. Got to go inside of the C5. My goodness. So if we race overseas, I think we have the best way of getting our haulers over there. We can just load up our haulers in a C5 and take them over there. But just an awesome day. Really cool to also have, Xfinity. Thank you. Xfinity in partnership with Air Force on our car. So just a lot of cool things happening at 2311. Love coming to Dover. Being able to honor our veterans that are riding with us on the deck lid is super cool. They'll be down with us at the stage. But just a lot of good things, got good vibes going for us. So I think it's time for us to turn that into something good for us.
Yeah, how about the good vibes of the sunshine today? A lot warmer than yesterday. Is that good for you and this team?
I don't know. It's a little hot for me. I'm already sweating, so it's going to be hot in the car. I got my cool shirt ready. Hopefully it works, but we're looking forward to today. It's going to be a challenge. We sat down with the team after Talladega, and Booty said, straight to our faces, it's going to be a grind from the first laps we hit on track in practice through qualifying, throughout the race. You have to grind. You're going to get pissed off and frustrated, but you have to manage it and be there at the end. So I'm looking forward to that. I know it's going to be a long day, so we just have to settle in and dig deep.
All right, Bubba Wallace looking for his first top 10 here at Dover. Shannon.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something if they went back-to-back with 2311 Racing? We just heard from Martin and Bubba. Any of those guys on your radar in terms of the Toyota camp?
Yeah, I mean, I like Martin and Denny, and I say that because Dover's just basically a big Bristol. And if you go back to Bristol, that's who finished first and second in that race. And I think the interesting part, though, is that when you think about Dover, I think about aggressive drivers, and Martin's not on my aggressive driver list. He's pretty methodical. But I think what he does a really good job of here, and he talked about being able to run the bottom, and that's about managing the rubber. You're going to hear guys all day long talk about you either got to be above it or below it, and he does a good job getting below it and is able to make a lot of speed there.
Yeah, one Toyota driver, Joe Gibbs Racing, I'm really keeping an eye on today is Christopher Bell in that 20 car. He got a top 5 there at Dover a couple of years ago. He's won a couple of Xfinity Series races, but this was yesterday in qualifying. It's like this team just keeps trending the wrong direction. They didn't have to go to a backup car. He's going to start 33rd. Think about it. Race 4 at Phoenix, those 4 races at short tracks and road course, he had 4 top 10 finishes. The last 3 races, best finish of 17th at Texas, 2 finishes of 35th or worse. Maybe today they're going to have to put their work clothes on. They can stop the bleeding.
We were giving him the trophy of the championship trophy after he won at Phoenix. Like, who's going to stop the 20 car?
Yeah, well, it goes like themselves. They start in 33rd today, or the back of the field, as Larry Mack said. This guy also has his work cut out for him starting 21st today. That would be Kyle Larson. He does have a win here, but of all the tracks, he's led the most laps. Jamie mentioned, what was it, like over 900? That's a lot of laps.
899.
899. Denny Hamlin, also a winner here at Dover, has 2 wins on the season. We'll see how he gets it done in Dover today. We'll be right back.
Live from Dover, Delaware, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Chris Myers, thanks for hanging with us. The 106th race at this track, and Hendrick, they have 22 wins over time, 11 different drivers, and Kyle Larson, one of them who has won before, but he was with Chip Ganassi. This time, of course, with a Hendrick Chevrolet. We'll see him in action. He's joining us now, and it's nice to see you, Kyle. Thanks for being with us. We're all aware of you doing the double this year, the Indy 500 and then the Coke 600, and got an all-star race. You got all kinds of practice, so that's got to make things a little bit challenging for you.
It is. It's going to be logistically challenging, as everybody's aware. Mostly, though, just the All-Star weekend will be the most challenging. So, yeah, we've been trying to find drivers and stuff to replace me in the seat for practice, and looked at lots of resumes, and unfortunately Clint's didn't make the cut, so we decided to go with Kevin Harvick. So
wait, he's gonna sit for practice.
Yeah, he's gonna practice. He's gonna practice the 5
in the 5 car. This has been
the whole team's excited. Honestly, the whole team's really excited.
This has been okayed by the bosses. How did you get the news?
Well, it would have been a lot easier to drive Clint's car because I know I can drive that one faster.
There's pressure.
Yeah, that one knows where the front is.
This one not so much.
So you're gonna drive. You're gonna get back in.
I'm gonna drive. I'm gonna practice. Yeah,
practice.
Brought him out of retirement.
Yeah, there's not very many phone calls that are going to say, hey, you know, Delana, I'm going to go back and get in a car. But when Rick called a couple days ago, he said, hey, I need a favor. And I know when the conversation starts like that usually you have to say yes. So I appreciate you guys calling. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna practice the car at the All-Star race.
And
Clint's gonna be on his own in the booth.
And we'll be broadcasting.
You need like a phone has large font. Can you do that to the gauge panel on your car? The man has trouble seeing these days.
Well, now there will have to be a little of a seat height adjustment, right?
We're about the same.
The good thing is, though, is because I won't be able, I don't think, to get there for the heat race. So they'll have all day on Saturday to change everything back to me. So that factored into it a lot. But no, we're all excited. I think everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, I think it's going to be good for us. All the teammates get to see kind of how you communicate and stuff, because as far as I know, I don't think any of us have worked with you before.
How does he communicate?
Well, it's going to be fun.
Well, I know how he communicates. It's a little off here, just maybe a little tight
He's more grip.
Yeah, I just need some grip.
You know that's not how I mean, I'm going to be...
My man is going to
be pretty nervous. We're going to dissect everything.
Detailed
That's what we want. That's what we want.
Even in broadcasting, detailed just like it was in the car. This is big news. So you will race the All-Star race. Yeah. He's just going to help the 5 car, and you guys set up for that. Okay, well, and you'll see it live.
We've definitely learned a lot about the rules, because apparently I can't actually race.
Right.
Well,
I guess I'm not eligible.
Because you know that car won last year, so if you get in that thing and it's off.
We got trouble. Hey, before we let you go, big announcement. One quick, you've led more laps here than any other racetrack for you. I know you, as I mentioned, have a win here. How about today's chances and the great Hendrick success over the years? But it seems like you guys will have some ground to make up.
Yeah. Didn't qualify very well yesterday. I kind of underdrove 1 and 2, but my car felt good in practice, and we're always good here at Dover, so I'm not too concerned. I know it's obviously going to take time to get up there, especially coming from 21st, I think I saw. So we'll see, but we got a good pit stall, great pit crew. You know, we just got to inch our way forward and put ourselves in a position at the end of the race.
All right, well, good seeing you again. Good luck today. The Indy, the All-Star, and wow, Kevin Harvick, having a backup driver who's a future Hall of Famer.
That's a new line on the resume, backup driver.
He can do it all. All right, we wish him luck, and as we get a check on some of the drivers getting ready to roll, speaking of a Hendrick driver, the 24, Jeff Gordon, had a lot of success in that car. William Byron, who has more wins this year than anybody else. And on the pole, Kyle Busch.
Big day for Kyle Busch and company at RCR.
They needed to have a good run, and on the pole is going to help that day for sure.
And Joey Logano, Ford, still making that push. What kind of chances? He's won. He's had success here before.
Two-time champion, Chris. Anytime Logano's behind the wheel of a race car, you got a chance. I like Ryan Blaney on that outside front row.
I like Ryan Blaney too. I think that qualifying's a big deal for those Fords with all the traffic. But as in Texas, you saw anything can happen.
And speaking of Fords, let's head over to Worth driver Ryan Blaney, who is with our Jamie Little. Jamie?
And Chris, this is the second time this year that Ryan Blaney has started on the front row, and last year you finished 3rd here. So how do you parlay that success into today to finally get to victory lane here at Dover?
Yeah, well, you know, I look back at last year, and we practiced when it was overcast like yesterday, and when we ran on Monday it was pretty sunny. So it's kind of the biggest thing we look at is, all right, how did the track change last year compared to the race from practice? So this place is always tricky. It's difficult. Hopefully we've learned from what we, our run last year, and make our car a little better. But obviously a huge weekend for us with Worth, sponsoring the race, them being a great partner in our car. It's have a lot of the Worth folks here today, so hopefully we can get in victory lane. That'd be the coolest thing ever. So then we got a shot at it in our Ford Mustang. Just a matter of trying to put together 400 good laps around this place and see what we can do.
So yesterday in qualifying, you told me a lap around here feels like 300 miles an hour. So what do 400 miles with all your competition? What does that feel like?
Yeah, it definitely slows down in the race. The pace isn't as high. Just with the temperature, it's not going to be as fast. And then as we lay rubber down, the pace will slow down. So you're a little bit more methodical in the race, kind of how you approach it and how you pay attention to how the track's rubbering up and slowing down and changing. But yeah, qualifying and first laps on practice, you're just holding your breath and trying to have as much throttle as possible. I like it more in the race where you can kind of be more thoughtful about it and you're slipping and sliding. So changes a ton, and it's the teams who are on top of those changes, to the track and ready to adjust their car that are going to be up towards the front. So big swing from start of run to end of run. So you just hope you're on top of it better than others.
All right, that's Ryan Blaney. He'll start second. Chris?
Thank you very much. When we continue live from the track at the Monster Mile. Talladega Tyler coming off his big win. We'll chat live with him, and on a heated grid walk, Michael Waltrip tells us what time it is as Alex Bowman, who won here in 2021, starting ninth, getting ready to roll, as are we, if you hang with us.
I'm Tyler Reddick. We're here at Airspeed today, and we've got a little bit of pit practice going on. What do you think, Steve?
Are you sure that you want me to get in that thing?
Yeah, why not? I put one leg in,
okay,
and then the other.
You got to jump on mine.
That was pretty good. Other than like space into the wall, relatively good.
I got to drive a NASCAR until it's time to drive, like actually race. My foot's never on the pedal.
Push it. Holy, you got a nice spring on there.
Yeah.
The smells, the sound, man, it's impressive.
He did pretty good, actually. There was a lot of information that we threw at him, but at the end of the day, a driver's a driver.
Tyler Reddick coming up big last week in his Toyota. As we welcome you back, we will be talking to him. He's starting fourth today. Denny Hamlin is right up there with him near the front. In fact, we have 6 different race teams in the first 6 spots today. And these are the favorites in long shots. They're not booing the favorites. I won't tell you.
That's not a favorite, and they're booing right there. I can promise.
But by the way, Reddick was one of the long shots last week when he came through, and Hamlin was a favorite, and as you know, he finished last. So give me a thought, Kevin, who you're looking at of the favorite sport that you like.
Well, I like the guy we had on our show earlier, last year's winner, Martin Truex Jr. He likes this track, and I think that matters.
It may have been who they're booing, but I'm going to pick him. That 11 car, Denny Hamlin, it's only $650. You're not going to make much money on this bet, but I think it's a good one.
And long shots, we've had quite a few win this year. Joey Logano, see Brad Keselowski. I know you talked to him just the other evening. What do you think?
Well, I think Christopher Bell, he had a little problem in practice. I think it could be a fun show coming from the back of the field. I like Christopher Bell on this list. I think they need to do something quick.
Oh, you're on. We just saw him. Joey Logano, plus 2,500. It's Ford's turn. I'd see that Ford Mustang and Joey Logano in victory lane.
Well, we've had in the first 10 races more than 300 lead changes, so that's an average of more than 31 a race. That's third best in a 10-race start to a season that we've ever had. And one guy who had the lead when it mattered most last week was Tyler Reddick.
And Reddick steals one.
Oh my God! Great work, guys! What does this one mean to you, Tyler, winning at Talladega?
Man, it's incredible. Was that crazy, guys? What was that crazy, fans, huh? That was chaos. That's Talladega for you.
Congratulations, Michael Jordan's waiting for you.
Let's go!
4, 3, 2, I let one go.
And how about that, Michael Jordan at the racetrack? How cool is this?
To me, it's like an NBA playoff game. I am so ecstatic. Look, I'm very happy to be here to see it. You know, I always, everybody tells me when we win, we can have a good celebration, but this is the first time I've been here. You want to go see it? I'm very happy for 2311. I'm all in. I'm all in. I love it 110%.
been ruthless.
Tyler Reddick joining us here on the track. Congratulations. You can't get enough. It was, wow, not just a big win for you, but it was an enormous win really for NASCAR, given your owner, the moment, what we saw with him and your son. Is the magnitude of that victory and with that owner settled in yet? I know your focus is on today's race.
Yeah, it was a really cool moment. It was great being able to go back and celebrate it a little bit too, but I had to wake up early Monday morning and take Bo to school, so life caught right back up real quick.
I mean, could you script it any better? Michael Jordan on the hood of that thing, Michael Jordan in victory lane, just unbelievable day, right?
Yeah, that was something. All in all, it was a pretty solid day for us on the speedways. We always seem to have that potential, and then in the end, we get in a wreck, right? So it was nice things still worked out the way they did, but it was fun.
So I interviewed you earlier in the year, and I could feel the expectations in your answers. You expect to win, you expect to be competitive, you expect to win laps. Some frustrating moments, fast cars leading up to Talladega, and all of a sudden it's like you break through that door. Talk about the relief in just getting that W and what that does to the team.
Yeah, Texas was real tough, right? I feel like we had taken over the race, the lead, and I just made a bad mistake and let Chase Elliott get by us. So, yeah, that was tough. It was a long week. I had to kind of swallow that one and move on. And it was nice to go to Texas Talladega. Talladega and steal one right back.
Yeah. You have what, 6 career wins, 6 different tracks. How about this one? How does this one relate? And what do you use in those other wins or those other tracks that helps you today?
Well, this track is just a lot of fun to drive.
Fun. Okay. I've heard hard.
It's difficult to race, but when things are going right here, this is one of the most fun tracks you can go to. It's been a long time now, but I did get one of my first truck wins here.
Okay.
And on that day when things are working right. This is just the type of place that feels like me and Miles can get along sometimes. So hopefully it's one of those days again.
Miles, the monster of the trophy. Well, thanks for coming on by here, and congratulations once again.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. Don't leave me hanging, all right?
I didn't want to.
All right, he'll replace you in the car if you need him, by the way. He's doing that. All right, thanks,
Good luck,
Tyler.
Good luck today.
All right, we have one to go. So your final thought, the sensation of speed and tires are on your mind.
Well, this is a track that you have to be prepared for physically. The sun is out today. It's going to be hot inside the car, and this racetrack is going to beat the heck out of you. Your eyeballs are going to hurt. Your head is going to hurt. There's going to be a lot happening for the drivers.
You're literally fighting a monster, and that fight changes. You say the groove changes. The tires are going to wear out. That's a conversation that we're waiting on. We had massive tire wear, much like Bristol a few weeks ago, where we all know what that went, but the temperature's probably going to take care of that. I am waiting to see that. I want to see this rubber get down on the racetrack and then take care of that conversation and watch these boys go to work.
A lot of unknowns
absolutely
to answer here in the first part of this race, so we're going to learn a lot in the first 40 laps.
Who are the drivers? This seems to favor experienced drivers. I mean, even the guys that won Dover the first time, guys like Petty and Allison and Jimmy Johnson. So, I mean, for a guy starting out, Corey Heim in his debut, I mean, this is a challenging track for guys with less experience.
The thing that I do like about the starting lineup, because of yesterday, it shook things up a lot like we saw at Bristol. Man, you just saw Kyle Larson, Reddick, all these guys are all over the place, all of our named drivers. Blaney's starting up front. Kyle Busch, haven't seen him in a while, starting on the pole. Want to see that 8 cars. Let's see what he can do.
Well, you're going to have to be prepared to fight the racetrack, and you're going to have to fight yourself as well, because you're going to drive into some of these corners, you're going to slip over one of those patches. The tires are going to wear out. The car is going to feel terrible, but you still got to drive it as fast as you go. Don't make any big mistakes to lose me a half a second or a second. Make a little mistake.
Pit road, my gosh, tight quarters on that pit road. Do not make mistakes.
And
you'll see it today.
Fighting in the broadcast booth. You never know. Because they disagree a lot off the air. All right, have a good call up in the booth. The Monster Mile in outstanding weather. I mean, we really lucked out with this. It'll hit over 80 degrees as we continue live from the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. Coming up, the grid walk headed your way as they head up to the booth. Hang with us.
You have to earn the right to be in this show.
Give it every ounce that we have.
Coming down to the wire.
The NHRA 4 Wide Nationals tonight on FS1.
FS1 a race day live. Look at the sun-soaked crowd here. 400 laps, 400 miles on the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware.
If you're looking to sit back, relax, and watch some easy racing, well, you've come to the wrong place.
That's the scariest thing that you ever faced.
Everything about this track can reach up and bite you.
Since the track's birth, it sought to terrorize those who tempt fate.
Here, you see it in front of you.
Engaged in an eternal conflict against those who challenge its will.
Logano's day comes to an end the hard way.
Caution, caution, caution.
Trouble on the back straightaway.
We got turns, everything up.
Sure, some have bested the beast, but it always comes back with a vengeance. So grit your teeth and stare into the flames. The Monster Mile is here for blood and takes no prisoners. This is Dover.
Who beats the monster today? Let's head over for the grid walk to Michael Waltrip for a very warm grid walk. Michael, where are you exactly?
Oh, Chris, man, you're right. It's warm. These drivers have it cut out for them today, and Daniel Suarez has it cut out for him tomorrow. You're going for your U.S. citizenship test tomorrow, right?
I don't know, Mikey. I don't know if I'm more nervous about the Dover race or my exam tomorrow morning. Honestly, I've been thinking a lot about the exam tomorrow morning.
Let me ask you a question. How many years does a U.S. senator serve?
The senator is 6 years, the president is 4, and the representative is 2 years.
2 years. How's your car? You ready? Your tires gonna wear out early?
I hope not. I hope not.
Let's see who else we can find. Hey, you know what? I have a soft spot for a tall race car driver. This place is tough enough. How's it feel when a big guy's behind the wheel?
You know, people always ask me who's taller, me or you. So we'll have to see. But this place is tough enough on me as it is. That's for sure.
You just hang on, don't you? I mean, it's so fast.
That's true. It is very fast. Hasn't been good to me over the years, but we're turning that around today.
You're doing a great job this year. I appreciate you much. Look who I've caught up with. Jeff Gordon. Hi, Jeff.
Mikey.
How you been? I've been looking for you forever.
Well, I'm here. Where are you at?
All over the place. You all right? Hey, Chase, congratulations on Texas. Two of my favorite sponsors, Hooters and Napa. Get Napa in victory lane today. How's it going to look for you?
I know, it looks good. Car looks awesome. We hope it goes fast.
Napa. Get Napa in victory lane today. How's it going to look for you?
I know, it looks good. Car looks awesome. We hope it goes fast, too. But yeah, ready to go. Looking forward to it.
You think the groove will widen out up next to the wall?
If it doesn't, I'm in big trouble.
Get up there where they're not. Pass a lot of people. Find a 7-time champion and 11-time Dover winner, Jimmie Johnson. Jimmy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
11 times you've won here. Can you make it 12 today?
There's a chance. We've got a great car, but it takes a full day. We've got to be good on pit road, green flag stops. There's a lot of elements to this that we don't do on a regular basis with a part-time car, but I'm so excited to be here, and a big thanks to Dollar Tree and Family Dollar for this opportunity. Toyota, everybody at Legacy MC, and this is my favorite track. When I was given the chance to pick a track to come drive at, I picked here, and Ty Norris was just standing here saying, "You're a fool.
Yeah.
This is your favorite track and the one you wanted to come back to."
I wanted to tell you, when I got old, this was the last place I wanted to come. It's just so crazy fast. Also, I want to tell you, when I got old, I got my readers from Dollar Tree. I hear this from the drivers. You drive this car off the right front. You're notorious for driving it off the right rear, so that's a challenge. I got 10 seconds to finish this thing up, so you're right, Mike.
You are right, Mike, definitely. I'm trying to learn how to drive it off the right front. Moral of the story.
You got it. Well, we're going to go trackside for pre-race festivities. Man, it's a beautiful day in Delaware. The crowd is fantastic. It's going to be a good one.
Please rise as you are able and remove your hats. And veterans, render a hand salute and direct your attention to the flag on the racetrack. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome from Hightstown, New Jersey, Chaplain of Calvary Assembly of God, Dan Schaefer.
Shall we pray? Almighty God, we stand here today, and we sit here today with gratefulness for this country that we live in. We pray for our military. We pray for our firefighters. We pray for our EMTs. We pray for those who keep us safe. And now we ask you, as we always do, for a great race, for a safe race. We pray in Christ's name. Amen. Shalom.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the United States Naval Academy Drum and Bugle Corps.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of our Fox FS1 NASCAR coverage. The 11th race of the season is straight ahead live right here.
Defending race champ Martin Truex. Kyle Larson. They know the way to victory lane. So does William Byron. He has won the most this year. Ryan Blaney. Defending series champion and pole sitter Kyle Busch. They are among the favorites in front of a packed house in Dover, Delaware for the Worth 400. Presented on FS1 by Brestree. The weekend got off to a rough start for the NASCAR Cup Series with 3 cars finding the wall in practice, none worse than this. A correction, an overcorrection, and a slam into the wall by Kaz Grala severely dented the safer barrier and his Rick Ware Racing Mustang.
Hit.
He climbed out, walked away, and will race today. Well, they've been racing here since 1969. They made the track concrete in 1995, and it has always been a challenge. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Kevin, you've been saying all weekend this is one of, if not the most physically demanding tracks in NASCAR.
When I drove, this was the track that I thought gave you the biggest sensation of speed. But these drivers better be ready today because of the fact that it's 400 miles. It's going to rattle your brain. It's going to rattle your eyeballs, and your car is not going to feel good most of the day. So you better be ready physically for this race because it's going to be a long day.
I love what you said there, Kevin. I totally agree. One of my favorite racetracks right here. It is a monster. This place is a beast. It is hard on you. It is taxing on your body. A lot of G-loads in the corners with the banking, a lot of on-throttle time. You just flat carry the mail around here. Some drivers, yesterday's practice, it was all over the place. We had Bell, he had trouble in practice, starting clear back in 33rd in the trunk. You got Chase Elliott, champion, right? He's 29th. Larson, 21st. Last year's winner, Martin Truex Jr., 15th. The thing I like, who filled those gaps, right? You haven't seen a Ford in victory lane. Blaney up front on the front row. Keep an eye on him. And how about Kyle Busch in his 8? RCR on the pole for today's race. Let's see if he can stay there.
Now, a few years ago, they shortened this race to 400 miles. How much of a help is that?
Well, it helps. And, you know, I think that the biggest thing today is not only is it going to be physically demanding, but we have no idea what's going to happen because yesterday it was cloudy, it was cold. Today it's hot and sunny and perfect outside, which I think is going to be a challenge for everybody to figure out what they need with their car.
Drastically different track conditions for sure. Going to be slipping, sliding around under this sun.
So one thing to watch in the early laps is how quickly the track takes rubber. That'll be a good indicator of the level of competition today. Let's go trackside.
Dover Motor Speedway, this is the moment you've been waiting for. Please welcome from the Aviators, Air Force Major Alistair Hollywood Latham, Navy Lieutenant Jim Zeke Lloyd, Navy Commander Jack Razor Gillette, and Navy Lieutenant Bill Offender Moyer.
Drivers, start your engines! Always a big and welcome military presence here. Oh, just about 10 miles up the road from Dover Air Force Base. We're ready to race in the first state.
The man in the mirror may be scarier than whatever you find on this track, while others fear what lurks around each turn. Worry more about answering to the voice within.
Ready, ready, ready.
Miles the Monster has an appetite for destruction.
It will chew you up, spit you out. This monster will bite you if you're not careful.
This monster mile unleashes a beast with every driver.
Boys got their hands full.
Who will be the one to harness it?
The most intense ride in NASCAR, a car eater.
It's time to find out on FS1.
Well, that monster only gets fed once a year now, one cup race a year in Dover, so it's had plenty of appetizer. Nice crowd on hand to see today's cup race. Who will win? Drivers of the monster. Let's hear from the pole sitter.
Hey, Kyle Busch, Kevin and Clint up in the booth. You put that car on the pole this weekend. You guys have had a few rough weeks, and qualifying went your way. What do you expect today, and what do you think this track is going to do to you?
Yeah, I mean, the finishes definitely haven't been indicative of where we feel like we've ran, but qualifying on the pole here with our FICO Chevrolet feels good, getting a good starting spot. And we all know how important aero is here at this place. You're in the corners longer than the straightaways, so lots to do today. You know, it's pretty green out here right now, pretty light, not a lot of rubber down, so we'll see how this first run goes and try to keep the tires on it and work our way with good pit stops all day and stay up front where we want.
All right, man, we'll be watching. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, let's take a look at today's Worth 400 starting grid. Busch on the front row. He's won 9 times from the pole in his career. Ryan Blaney, the Cup Series champion, finished personal Dover best 3rd here last year.
Second row, you got William Byron right there, and Tyler Reddick on his outside. Good row.
Jamie Little.
Well, Tyler Reddick's win 1 week ago is one he won't soon forget. He took co-owner Michael Jordan to his first ever victory lane in person. He told me it was a moment with his son he'll always remember. But what's the goal today? It's back to business, back to the grind. They want to carry that momentum through. He's on his longest top 10 streak of his career. So far, so good. He qualified 4th, his best effort here at Dover.
All right, row 3 is Noah Gregson. Finished a career best 3rd last week in a car that always runs here. Good here, Denny Hamlin. Regan?
Well, Denny Hamlin already with 2 wins this season has been extremely strong every track that we have gone to, but over the past 3 races, not a lot to show for that strength. He's had 3 races without a finish inside the top 10. Then we come to Dover, historically not one of Denny's best tracks, but since he and Chris Gabehart have been paired up, it has been very good, including Denny's lone win here at Dover in 2020. Look for that 11 car to be very strong today and aggressive as he starts in 8.
Row number 4, a pair of Fords. Chase Briscoe with his 7th top 10 start of the season, and Michael McDowell has his best ever start at Dover.
Row number 5 has 2021 Dover winner Alex Bowman and AJ Allmendinger.
Well, let's go back to row 8 and visit with the defending champ of this race, Martin Truex.
Hey, Martin Truex, it's Boyer and the boys up in the booth. You got us?
I got you, guys.
Man, it's got to feel good to be back home. How about that brother? Just like last year, clean sweep for the Truex boys. Saw your dad over at the casino last night. Huge smile on his face. Can we make this a sweep? Got that broom handy?
Well, we got one. Hopefully we get to use it. Yeah, yesterday was huge. It was awesome to see Ryan do that again. And he put the pressure on, so we'll see if we can hold up our end of the deal. But I felt like our best for Camry was just okay yesterday. I didn't quite get all of it qualifying, so we've got a little work to do there. But track's going to change a lot. Hopefully we can get it right by halfway and get after him at the end.
All right, buddy. Good luck out there. Thanks for the time.
You got it.
Well, let's take a closer look at one of the tuning tools these teams have, the rear sway bar. Here's our crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Yeah, Mike, it's a 1 mile racetrack, but you heard Kyle Busch. You spend 3/4 of a lap in the corners. So anything you can do to help that car rotate through the middle, that's a tool that teams will go to. Let's go to our Toyota Camry cutaway car, and let's take a look at the rear sway bar or the rear anti-roll bar. It does exactly what it says. It takes roll out of the rear of the car. It hooks to the left rear and to the right rear with what we call a drop link. Now, you can adjust this sway bar as far as how stiff or how soft you want to make it. There's 5 different adjustments. If you look at that green blade, that's the sway bar blade. Now, when it's laying completely flat, that's when it sets its softest settings right there. But when you turn it up all the way on its end, standing straight up and down, that's the stiffest setting. Now, this is not adjustments that teams will make during the race, but probably this morning after qualifying before the race. But Kevin and Clint, not every driver will elect to run it. It's more of a preference as far as a feel.
Well, it is a preference, and I think that feel that you're talking about is probably not as comfortable here. But I like to run the rear sway bar a lot just because you have a little bit more turn in the middle of the corner, and I think it being not as comfortable will be better in traffic because of that little bit of turn. And we heard some of the drivers already talk about the cars being tighter behind each other in traffic, but with that sway bar, it just gave you a little bit more turn, even though it was uncomfortable.
Well, this track, most like every track, is platform, right? The platform is everything with this car. You want to keep that platform, and what's unique about this track in particular is your throttle on time. You drive through the corner because of the banking on the throttle, utilizing that sway bar.
Mark Twain said something like, if you don't like the weather in the Northeast, wait a minute, it'll change. Well, that minute happened overnight. Yesterday at this time, it was 58 degrees here in Dover under heavy overcast, and right now it is 67, heading for the 67 on the track, heading for the mid-80s today.
This one, Mike, that track temperature is such an important part of this concrete racetrack. Very temperature sensitive.
400 laps will be shown up on the scoring pylon in the infield. 400 miles and unequal stage lengths, 120, 130, and 150 laps. Here's what the drivers think of Dover.
The amount of speed that you carry on a 1 mile track is, very unique, and certainly there's not another track out there like it.
What's made it really hard with these cars is we're limited with travel in the back of these things.
The next-gen car has made turn 3 extremely tricky, just how it gets on the limiters. You see a lot of guys crash getting into turn 3. This track's wild. It's definitely a roller coaster. You're elevated on the straightaways, drop down in the corners.
I think a lot of the challenges become the landing and the jump, the exit. That's probably the biggest 2 things.
Dover is one of a kind. It's like a roller coaster. You go up on next to the corner and then you go down again. It's kind of crazy.
And you do it 800 times, 400 laps. Cars to the rear. Christopher Bell brushed the wall in qualifying. They made an easy repair. Not so Kaz Grala. You saw his crash at the top of this show. They have gone to a backup car. Zane Smith cut down a right rear tire and backed it into the turn 2 wall, but no frame damage, so they repaired his car.
We heard a lot of those guys talking about the ride limiters. You heard Chase Briscoe mention it. Those bumps getting into 3, that's exactly what happened to Bell. Got loose over those bumps, probably bottomed that car out, and as soon as it does, it just shocks that suspension into eternity and spikes them tires and away it goes.
Yeah, and you see the field going into turn 3. Those bumps are right under this bridge, and the hardest thing that these guys have to figure out right now is where those heights and everything need to be, because they're guessing on what the pace will be and the lap time.
Jimmy Johnson with our Toyota onboard camera in the field this week. 11-time Dover winner.
Here we go, boys.
Here they come out of turn 4. Everybody on their feet. Green flag for the Worth 400.
Well, we talked about it before the race started, Clint, is outside or inside. Well, you see right there, the outside just launched way better, and that'll be the case all day on the restarts.
Hamlin outside Byron for fourth rather, as they complete lap 1. Noah Gragson looking on. Still double wide in the second half of the field.
Have to be careful, especially careful early on in these runs. Low air pressure makes those cars even lower yet, especially when you start talking about bumps and things like that. That bump's a little bit worse on the bottom. You see William Byron with a car on the outside of him. That's what you have to be careful of.
Martin Truex passing Bubba Wallace. From there on back, still some good two-wide racing here in the early laps.
And you see those cars all file into turn 3, and right now that is going to be the most difficult part, as those cars are low on air pressure, really close to those limiters. The good news is, in traffic like that, you'll have to back everything up. But this guy right here, Kyle Busch, he's got the best view in town. Up front, clean air, learning how fast his car can go, because these will be some of the fastest laps of the race, with the racetrack clean and no traffic in front of him.
Yeah, this is a racetrack where your car will fall off quite a bit. If your handling is off, that thing takes off in a mad push. It's a beast. That being said, get filed in here, figure out what you have for a race car, and then methodically start picking through them. Talking about Truex, talking about Larson, Chase Elliott, some of these guys, these big names that we know they're going to make their way to the front. It'll just take time. Be patient.
You saw Christopher Bell has picked up 2 spots since the start of the race. Martin Truex 1. Chase Elliott trying to make a move on Ryan Preece here. That's back at 28th spot. Elliott has not yet advanced, but look at the racing surface in the corner. This track is taking rubber right from the start.
Well, that's what a lot of the crew chiefs expected, and we expected as well. With the sun out today and the temperature up, that rubber going on the racetrack, we saw the cars only be able to run about 20 laps yesterday before they corded the tires, so good sign.
Kind of a textbook pass Chase Elliott he made on Preece right there. Sometimes a pass will take a couple laps here, Kevin. You can get underneath of him, get your nose in there. That's pretty standard practice for Dover, because of the banking, because of the throttle time. You can get established, but it'll take some time if they hang on the outside on the door.
Well, right now it's going to be more difficult to pass than it's going to be in about 15 laps, and I really think as we start to get to lap 20 to 40, that's when you're going to start to see whose cars are handling good, who's going to wear the tires out. I still think the first run here we're going to have more tire wear than we have all day. I think that tire wear will get better and better as we see Kyle Larson up on the outside.
19th place, and Ty Gibbs also moving up as you look back at Kyle Larson from his Monster Energy on board. I know it's early, Larry Mack, but with the change in the weather and the question of tire wear, how long do you want this first run to be?
Yeah, Mike, I probably talked to about a third or fourth of the field as far as crew chiefs last night and this morning. And in the perfect world, you want to split these stages. And the first stage is the shortest, 120 laps, 60 laps apiece. But I think they'll go a little earlier than that just because of the tire wear. But everybody was comfortable, Mike. It will be better today. You've already documented the rubber's going down in the corners.
Well, it's going to be a little bit better today, but the thing that is going to happen is the drivers are going to be nervous. So if that car slips the back one time, or it pushes the front, or it slows down a drastic amount, the drivers are going to get antsy over the tires and want to start pitting, and the crew chief's going to want to go, hey, just make sure, because we don't want to be the first ones to pit right here in case there's a caution or something that comes out, which would be my big concern today. You just don't want to be the first caution.
It's amazing to me how temperature sensitive this tire is. I mean, literally, 30, 40 degrees different track temperature. Yesterday, it was shaving this tire off like a cheese grater, much like it did back in Bristol. Flip the switch here, a lot hotter day, that rubber's going down. But you know us, picky race car drivers, the next problem they're going to have is that rubber builds up too much. Now we're going to be whining about that.
Yeah, and as that rubber builds up on the exit of the corners, you'll really be able to see a black stripe from the center of the corner all the way to the exit of the corner. You see the rubber going down. This is the entry to the corner, and as the day goes, you're going to want to start getting out of the dark patches and looking for those gray patches that have more grip.
It really starts to build up on the exit. Right there in that shot, that's where that car takes a really heavy load on the exit, and that gives you fits in a race car.
Kyle Larson is up 4 spots. Chase Elliott, his Hendrick teammate, has only gained 1 since the start of the race from the back. Jamie?
Well, Mike, for the Chase Elliott fans wondering where their driver is, he started back in 29th spot, and I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, this morning. He said, the good news is we were really good at race trim. We think we were the best of the Hendrick cars. He said, but we just missed it completely in qualifying. That puts them in a box. They're going to have to mix up their strategy. Kevin mentioned it. If we get a caution before lap 50, watch for that 9 team to come down pit road.
Thanks, Jamie. 14 laps complete of 400 in Dover, which always does a great job with pre-race excitement. The fan zone, a lot of families here, and they're having fun.
No margin for error. They rip across the start-finish line.
For the moments that thrill.
Crossover move. They're 3 wide for the lead.
And the memories that last.
Ryan Blaney is a NASCAR Cup Series champion.
Only one place has it all.
Side by side for the race lead.
Your teams.
They're bouncing off each other. The gas.
Your drivers.
We're still in it. Here they come to the line.
Your NASCAR.
Unbelievable. Now champions are made.
Find your gear. Go to NASCAR.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Worth 400 from Dover, Delaware on FS1. 22 green flag laps complete. You are riding with the Ford Performance Cam on board. Ryan Preece is SHR number 41, and he is smoking.
Yeah, well, they're obviously looking at these shots, giving Ryan a report because he can smell it, he can see it. He knows that. You see, look over at right there. Right. He's looking over there to see if there's any flames, but we'll keep him aware if there's anything that gets worse. But it's either rubber in the rocker panel or something that is down there smoldering. So hopefully it doesn't flame up.
We saw tons of rubber from yesterday's practice. It really wasn't going down on the racetrack. Huge balls and clumps of rubber coming out of these cars and qualifying after those long practice runs. More than likely, that's what that is, stuck in the door.
So how is the track after the first 20 laps? Here is pole sitter and race leader Kyle Busch.
Giving general pace to the field. Everybody's running like the top 5 are all running 40s. Everybody behind them's running 60s, 70s. The next 10 or so behind that are about 70s, 80s.
So that would have been 2370s, 2380s. At the time, Kyle Busch was a good bit faster than the field. Regan.
Well, Mike Joey Logano started in 13th place. Currently has slid back from 6 positions to 19th. The report from Joey right now, he is extremely tight, telling crew chief Paul Wolf they're going to have to go big on the adjustments. Think about this, too. Very tough on these teams to figure out where they needed to be today based on the temperature yesterday and to today. They're one of the teams going to need a little work.
Biggest movers, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, each are up 6. Christopher Bell just passed his 5th car.
Yeah, we see the rubber really building up on the racetrack right here. And for me, I like to run the bottom of the racetrack. I like to run down in this white down there at the bottom of the racetrack. And as you go through this corner right here, you see that bottom right there. You can hook the lighter shade of the racetrack right there. You have more grip, and as that rubber gets darker on the exit of the corner, you want to try to stay out of that. So some guys will run the bottom, and some guys will run up the racetrack and try to miss that rubber.
Well, you'll have to move up and straddle it is what you do, much like we see at Martinsville or even Bristol sometimes. So you'll move up, diamond that corner, just like you see Ty Gilliland right here, diamond the corner a little bit, then come back across it.
Yeah, the only problem with going out of that rubber and trying to be at the top of that rubber is it will wear the tires more on that greener racetrack. So you want to try to stay in the rubber on the top.
Ryan Blaney closing in on Kyle Busch for the lead. Busch, however, has backed off his pace after that radio transmission we heard.
Look at the difference, the speed difference. Blaney took a shot at him through the center of 3 and 4. Yeah, a lot more speed in the center.
And you just have to go where they're not. And Ryan Blaney is running right on the bottom of the racetrack, but he's learning a lot about his car and what he needs to do. And you saw the front end take off off the exit of the corner, lost a bunch of ground to Kyle Busch. And for me, when I used to race at this particular racetrack, it was always, okay, this is my good corner. I'm good through the center of the corner. And the rest of the corner and on the racetrack, I would just try to maintain and not lose ground. And you got to know your strengths so you know where to make those passes.
Well, last week's winner, Tyler Reddick, carrying the Toyota Cam today. He is making this a 3-car race. All 3 leaders within 1 second of each other.
Well, you saw the best of both worlds. Blaney, to run that bottom this long, 30 laps into a run, that tells me his car's pretty free. He's got a good neutral balance. Probably more than likely Busch's car's starting to tighten up in the center. That's when you start diamonding a little bit. Can't carry the speed on the bottom because you run into a tight situation on the exit.
Tyler Reddick was thrilled last Sunday. His son Bo was ecstatic. Nobody was happier than team co-owner Michael Jordan.
Denny keeps saying I was bad luck when I come to the track. And today we proved him wrong. I mean, look, actually he did a good job by wrecking so we can get up front. That was actually pretty good. But I think Tyler did a good job. Unfortunately, Bubba couldn't finish. The whole team did a good job. And look, I'm very happy to be here to see it. I always, everybody tells me when we win, we can have a good celebration. But this is the first time I've been here. And to my wife and my kids and everybody, yeah, we did it. I'm sorry I left you home. we've done a heck of a job just to be where we are. And for us to win a big race like this, I mean, it means so much to me and for the effort that the team has done. And look, I'm all in. I love it. You know, it replaces a lot of the competitiveness I had in basketball, but this is even worse, you know, because I have no control. If I was playing basketball, I have total control, but I have no control, so I live vicariously through the drivers and all the, you know, crew chiefs and everybody. So, I mean, I'm very happy for 2311.
Long race fan Michael Jordan as Ryan Blaney makes a try for the lead.
Well, like Clint said, his car is really, really good on the bottom. You see Kyle's car starting to give up in the middle of the corner. He's had to move up the racetrack to the top of that rubber to try to make lap time, and Ryan Blaney drives right by on the bottom.
Kyle Busch led the first 33 laps in his Chevrolet. Ryan Blaney out front in his Ford. 34 complete at Dover Motor Speedway. First caution of the day in the Worth 400 from Dover on FS1, and it's Todd Gilliland. Watch coming off turn number 4 here.
See him coming up underneath. Just shot up the racetrack, got tight, got into Austin Dillon on the outside, trying to stay off of him, right, Kevin? Spun it out.
Yeah, and unfortunately that makes him spin out worse when you lift off the throttle like that, and you have to make a quick adjustment. The back just unloads. Both of them.
Yeah, Austin had a big lift there too.
Well, Gilliland had been off to a good start this season, led a ton of laps at Atlanta, a career high, and was a good budget pick for your fantasy pool today until now.
I don't think that car has that much damage. He's trying to get him to just push it off. He can't get it moving. I don't think his day's done. Flat tires, obviously. Can't get it up the hill.
Well, even the straightaways here at Dover are self-cleaning. They are banked, not as much as the corners, but nothing seems to stay up at the outside wall.
Yeah, the tires are down. It's just down on the ride limiters there, and or the rub blocks, Kevin, and can't get it moving. Now he's going to go another lap down.
Well, and it's hard to make the car go when all the tires are up here because of that transition from the concrete to the banking. But when they're all flat like that, now he's just
stuck.
Well, this is going to put everybody in a pit window that is very generous.
Larry, I'd say some crew chiefs are wanting to see these race tires anyway.
Everybody wanted to see this caution except Todd Gilliland, trust me.
Saturday on Fox, the United Football League takes center stage. The Houston Roughnecks battle A.J. McCarron and the St. Louis Battlehawks. Saturday at 3 Eastern on Fox.
Man, he is in a terrible spot. The truck can't get him pushed. He's stuck. That isn't going to work, guys. I've seen him use the ropes. You see the tow truck can't get in behind him to push him.
Yeah, the straightaway is angled, and the apron, the dark part there, is flat. So that's going to be tough. They may need to tug him out of there.
Yeah,
on 2 laps down already. He's going to go a third at least.
Yeah, you see the splitter on the ground. You see the rub blocks on the ground in the back. The diffuser's on the ground underneath the back of the car. All those
have to be careful. To your point, Kevin, this is what they use at Talladega. Now they're going to hook it up.
And unlike other racing series where they have tow hooks on the front of the cars, in NASCAR, because of the casual contact bumper to bumper, no tow hooks. So you've got to lift those front wheels.
Be careful here lifting this thing up. Be careful lifting it up and hurting the diffuser that's so important on the rear. Not much damage on that car. You can see he just barely touched right front.
All right, we're going to go get a root beer float as they try to hook up Todd Gilliland's car and get him going again in Dover. Narrow pit road. It's a busy place as the 43 gets turned around by Tyler Reddick exiting his pit. They'll have to back up and, sorry, Corey Heim, rough introduction to the Cup Series there.
Tyler Reddick yeeted Corey Heim right out of the way right there.
This is getting completely out of control with you, Kevin. You don't even know what yeet it is.
Wow, 4 wide off the end of pit road there.
The hats have been in podcast word, Mike, right?
Flung him, Quint. Just flung him right around.
That's why we don't explain it to you.
And there it is.
See? Yeeted him.
He's been yeeted.
Take your white finger.
Welcome back to the Worth 400 on FS1. Still under caution for the Todd Gilliland crash. Took a long time to get Gilliland's car removed, and they dragged it all the way to the garage. Now, here's what happened to Tyler Reddick coming out of his stall while they're trying to guide Corey Heim, substitute driver there for Eric Bell, into his pit, and with a different crew chief. Joey Cohen, competition director for the 43, is there. Dave Ellens left the track yesterday for a personal matter, and here's the number 20. Whoa, Christopher Bell, as the tire changer goes to the ground. They back him up to get that lug nut tight.
Yeah, those guys have had a ton of trouble on pit road with just little stuff like that on the 20 car, and see the incident right here with the 45 and 43. But that's Dover pit road, Clint. I mean, this is a narrow pit road. It's easy to speed on because of the RPM. See some damage right there on the 45. That's not going to help him. You want the nose of that splitter to keep it shaped to make the maximum downforce. So right now he's hoping that doesn't change the handling of his car a bunch.
Now, good news for Ryan Preece. The smoke from the right side has abated where that rubber was burning inside of between the roll cage and the outer sheet metal of his car. So they report everything there is okay now.
Yeah, they've really worked hard on that foam. And Kevin, that takes me back to Darlington, watching your car burn down. Putting some fire retardant stuff on that foam and keeping it from flaring up, and I think it worked.
Yeah, well, they put that on the foam. They've put it in the doors. They've got some different heat shields changed. I mean, they've changed so much since my car caught on fire at Darlington. So we saw a lot of that, but in this instance, we saw the fire go out, which is good.
For the restart, Blaney inside of William Byron. Ford versus Chevy with a Toyota front row. Hamlin and Reddick, then Busch and Grayson. Here we go.
Very good jump for Blaney on that inside. Hard to do.
Yeah, it's just so hard to get the launch on the restart to be able to get the car to not spin the tires. On the new tires, it becomes a little bit easier, but
that's Truex on that outside. Excuse me, I think that's
Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin, hold on to it. That's Chastain on that outside is who that was. 3 wide. Big loose end for Denny Hamlin. Lost some spots for sure.
Put Hamlin, who restarted 4th, back to 7th. Couple other issues on pit road. Lug nut issue for Kyle Busch, lost 2 spots, and Michael McDowell penalized to the rear, too fast entering pit road.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. You know, the pit road entry, you have a curve around the pit road. The cars will lunge because of the gearing and that you have to have with the speed around this racetrack. It makes it really easy to speed because you just barely touch the throttle. Regan?
Well, Kevin, just to touch base with Kyle Busch and what he had going on at the end of that run right there. Started off very loose getting into the corners. It stayed that way the whole run. But about 30 laps into the run, he started to lose the front of the race car through the middle of the corner. Very difficult for Randall Burnett. He needs to fix the loose end, but how do you do that and fix the tight in the middle?
Stewart Haas teammates battling. Chase Briscoe up to 5th, passing Noah Gragson. Let's go back to Denny Hamlin's issue here outside of Kyle Busch.
Ooh, just came out from underneath of him on them bumps. So we talked about low air pressure, but also that outside line. That was close. Good save by Denny Hamlin. Got some movers. Big shakeups. You see them right here. These Hendrick boys, they're all in a line right there. The 5 cars coming to the front. 9 huge gains, up 13 positions under that caution. Thank you guys in the pits. Also, Martin Truex Jr., he's got that track position moving all the way from 15th where he started to 7th. Coming to the front.
Riding with Brad Keselowski, the BuiltSubmarines.com cam, 14th place.
Yeah, and you see Brad using that top groove. Basically, what you have to do here at Dover is go where they're not. So if you have a car on the bottom of the racetrack, you're going to use this diamond and come back down on the exit of the corner to straighten that exit out to get a good run down the straightaway like you see right here. But now he's going to be stuck behind the car in front of him right there. The front end's not going to want to turn as much. He's going to have to lift more on the exit of the corner, and makes it a lot harder to pass.
Yeah, that was Allmendinger in front of him, but look at the aero push. So aero tight behind him in his wake.
Yeah, and that's not new. It's different. No. It's different in this car, but very similar here. We're going to talk about diamonding the corner. You know, you want to go in the corner, you can go in high, but you want to try to straighten the entry out, go up the racetrack, and try to get a nice straight exit on the exit of the corner, because you either have to split the rubber or your car's got some sort of handling issue. But definitely, when you hear us say diamonding the corner, it definitely gives you a different option with the different lanes that you have to run here, instead of running right around the bottom or right around the top of the rubber groove.
Drastically different driving conditions. When you're wrapping that bottom, you're throttling through the center of the corner, lift a little bit at the 3/4 mark, back down. When you diamond that corner, you float it off into the corner a lot harder.
Oh,
got more smoke, huh?
Yeah, we have a no smoking rule. Ryan Preece, though, similar issue previously.
Been to a
now, note the top of his helmet and note the tube running from it. That's to get fresh, cool air to the driver. And that's a good thing, as long as that's taking its air from outside the car, because the air inside the car, not too good right now.
Well, that's the problem. The air might be taken from that back roll bar. It might be a little squirrel fan on the back roll bar. But yeah, I'm sure that something in the rocker panel is smoldering. We've seen it go out. We've seen it come back and catch on fire again. But now what an unnerving situation for Ryan Preece to have all that smoke in the car and just not know the situation and how bad it is.
High Gibbs outside Ross Chastain. This is for 17th.
Larry, we talk about diamonding. You hearing anybody on the radio talking about using that strategy?
I am, Kevin. You see Chase Briscoe in that 14 car running 6. Just before that caution, his crew chief, Richard Boswell, who actually as a racer himself was talking to Chase about doing that, said that's much easier on the tire, especially till we get rubber down on the racetrack.
Yeah, it just allows you to not have to grind on that right front tire all the way through the center of the corner. Just a little less wheel, let it run up the racetrack, straight entry, straight exit.
We're halfway through stage 1 in Dover. We've already had 1 caution flag and 1 pit stop. Ryan Blaney leading William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Ford, Chevy, Toyota, 1, 2, 3. It's a beautiful day in Dover for the Worth 400 on FS1, presented by Brez Tree. There's the Brez Tree cam on board Austin Dillon.
Well, you see a lot of options in this corner right here, Mike. This is turns 3 and 4. Austin's at the top of the rubber. They keep pushing that groove up. The bottom lane on the exits keeps getting darker, giving you a lot of options to figure out how to make your car make speed.
Well, you heard Truex tell us in a pre-race, you have to go where they're not. And that's exactly what you see Christopher Bell doing on that outside.
All right, Ryan Preece made a fire alarm pit stop while we were under a break there. Jamie?
And Mike, they brought it in. They took a look at it. As soon as he pulled back out on the track, he said, it's still on fire. He said, it's not the door, it's the foam that's on fire. They said, bring it to the garage. It looks like the 41's day could be over.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, what a terrible situation.
But Larry, since this is a mechanical issue, he goes to the garage. Can he come back out?
Absolutely, as long as that door foam is in place and intact. Yeah, this would not be any kind of a situation where he's going in the garage because of an accident or anything.
Chase Briscoe running in 12th place right now. He was 8th after the caution flag, giving up a couple of spots since, but we were able to sit in on his pre-race team meeting.
Today, really, we just need to execute. It's going to be a day where there could be potential tire failures at the start of the race with as much tire wear as we saw yesterday. Hopefully the increase in temp helps that. But we just have to be on our toes. A win fixes everything. You know, I've been here 3 times with Chase, and I've never felt like I couldn't win, and today's no different. So let's go have a solid day. Let's execute. Let's do our part. And let's go get a checkered flag.
That's crew chief Richard Boswell in his 3rd season as a Cup crew chief.
Good guy.
9 career Xfinity wins. His dad, legendary Maryland short tracker Dickie Boswell.
Yeah, good guy. Been at Stewart-Haas around a long time. Engineer there, Kevin. Know him well.
And the spotter up on the roof is Joe Campbell.
Yeah, Richard Boswell is a very intense guy. I love the intensity that he carries. He's great for Chase Briscoe. Briscoe kind of a mild-mannered personality, and Richard just has that intensity that he needs to balance that out.
Was a driver himself. I mean, that's where that intensity comes from. He knows how to set him up, knows how to drive him.
Ryan Blaney has now led 41 laps, the most laps he has led in a Cup race since his last victory, when he led 145 at Martinsville, Virginia last fall.
Well, you see the car of Tyler Reddick right here, his onboard camera, and he's really good at searching around the racetrack. You see the bottom groove was his choice as he went into the corner.
Here he comes.
Yeah, this is the guy we all had our eye on. Last year's winner, Martin Truex Jr. We all know that, and he told us in the pre-race, this is one of his favorite racetracks to drive, and he just has a style that it fits right here.
That one's coming with him too, all the way from 21st. Larson, keep an eye on him. Already up to 6th.
Let's have a look at the Xfinity fastest lap of the race, where that's a list where Truex is 11th. Kyle Busch, right from the start, his fastest lap was lap 2, as it was for Ryan Blaney and William Byron. Tyler Reddick also on lap 2.
Well, I don't like the way that Kyle Busch car falls off, Clint. We see right there a 24.67. That particular lap follows it up with a 25 that lap, but it seems like his car gets to a point, and then he was fighting that loose end, and then it got to the point where that front end started to take off, and that is a bad problem to have here.
But it keeps compounding too, right? You lose that track position and get mired back in dirty air, it just makes it worse.
Well, this guy in the 24 car of William Byron has found something that is working for him, and Ryan Blaney is probably going to lose this lead to William Byron here shortly.
He's giving him fits. He's trying to make that thing wide, take the air away from him. But a crossover move by Byron's got him back on the bottom. Look how much quicker he can get to the throttle. Blaney's going to let him go.
With this pass for the lead, Hendrick cars have now gained a combined 15 positions since the restart.
Yeah, they're rolling. He's not the only one.
Jamie?
Well, I'm keeping my eye on Kyle Larson. He's up 15 spots since the start of the race. Didn't have the best qualifying effort, but I talked to Chris Daniels, his crew chief. He said Kyle is so good around this place. Unfortunately, they've wrecked out the first 2 races here with this next-gen car. But he told me, keep an eye on the 5. We feel good about our chances. Kyle just saying these corners feel more like Martinsville. He wanted to be a little bit tighter on that first stop.
80 laps complete. We had a caution at lap 40. Everybody was on pit road then. Larry?
Yeah, I'm seeing this with Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 car right now running 4th. I'm also seeing it with William Byron in the 24, who just took the lead from Ryan Blaney. We talked about these long sweeping corners, so much time in the corners. Where they're both so good right now is keeping the RPM, keeping the speed up dead in the middle of the corner, that rolling speed through the middle.
Well, that's what this racetrack is all about. How can I get that mid-corner speed and keep it there, Larry? Because the exit of the corner gets narrow. It gets that rubber built up on it. It's harder when you're behind a car to be able to get up off the corner like you need to. So where do you gain the speed? Through the middle of the corner, right? You have partial throttle. You have, sometimes you go all the way back to the throttle, and then you let off again at that 3/4 mark all the way around the corner and lift out of the throttle to make the exit of the corner. So it's all about that mid-corner speed.
It's all because of this sun beating down on this racetrack. That, you know, track temperature going up through the roof like it was over yesterday. These guys, they're widening this racetrack out, trying to find new racetrack, trying to keep that momentum up around the corners, keep that throttle down. Tough challenge, tough task here at Dover.
Yeah, that's a great shot from camera 15 right there.
You like go 15?
I love 15. Inside stuff.
37 laps to go in stage 1 at Dover. William Byron leading.
Clint dispatched me for Tailgate Kings today, and look what I found. America's largest rubber duck. But more importantly, I have a bigger guest today. Second Lieutenant Madison Marsh, the first active duty military officer to be crowned Miss America. Now, Lieutenant Marsh, we have a question for you. The boys in the booth really want to know on this next pit stop, 4 tires or track position?
Well, I'm in the Air Force, so I want to go fast, so 4 tires.
There you go, Clint.
Bob gets to have all the fun.
Let me tell you, as pretty of a day as it is, I made a lap in a golf cart and met some great fans this morning. Everybody out tailgating in this beautiful Monday morning.
Look. You ran out of the production meeting to go see the guy driving the one-man band bicycle. What was that?
Hey, man, we went from a world record rubber ducky. I don't know where that came from.
That is definitely your favorite part of this whole event. You love the duck.
I love the fact that they've created a festival feel out in that midway. Everybody in town, this is the place to be at today, especially the weather. My gosh, as nice as it is. I met these old boys. They were cooking hamburgers. I pulled up and said, well, boys, how's the burgers? This idiot forgot the ketchup. I said, I'll fix that. I went over and borrowed some from their friendly neighbors from New York, come back over, got him a ketchup. I said, who forgot the ketchup? Boy, the finger pointing went on, man. They were pointing at each other. So fun here at Dover, especially at that.
Well, they know about music festivals. Firefly every year here is a huge event, huge music festival.
Did you know that, Kevin?
I did.
Why do you know that, Mike? That's young people stuff.
He can read.
Hey, I want to go down and add a little air pressure to the rubber duck. You think I want to set another world record?
I think your quote earlier was, how do we blow the rubber duck up? Isn't that what you said?
It needs more air.
Yeah. How much bigger do you think that duck can get?
I want to find out.
Let's see how much of a lead William Byron can get here as he is getting into race traffic. Just put a lap on Justin Haley. Haley, who turned 25 today. Happy birthday. We're in the 51.
Heavy traffic.
Regan.
Mike William Byron been very quiet since we went back to green for this run, but something he told the team under yellow a while ago about his race car was that on the bottom it was just a little bit too tight. As he moved up, it was loose. Well, as he gets in this traffic right now, very important that he can move around to help adjust that car as he tries to pick his way through traffic. That's something I imagine they're happy to hear.
I think so. All right, now, second place, Ryan Blaney may have an issue.
Well, they got so fast, saving the whole run. They just drive around me. I don't know that I need to go faster.
Well, this is a frustrating racetrack, especially when the groove gets wide like this, and you know you're going to fight all kinds of conditions. And what works for you right now is not going to work for you in 50 laps, because the fast groove is going to be the top, and then it's going to move back down to the bottom, and then it's going to go to the middle, and then you're going to hit one of those patches, and a lot of the grind marks are the opposite direction of the corner, and you'll go over some of those marks, and the back of the car will slide. So that this racetrack is so incredibly difficult to understand where you're at all the time, as you see Martin Truex Jr. underneath Ryan Blaney.
That's the second one that just went by him, and that's where the frustration comes from. At the end of the day, might just be down on grip, Kevin. He's tried to, I mean, he's backing the corner up, trying to save, trying to manage those tires, and they still blowing by him.
Well, and he wants to fight Martin Truex as hard as possible, because the more cars that go by him, the harder it is going to be for Ryan Blaney to make his car any better, because his track position is going to get worse. You see a big move by Tyler Reddick.
Well, he's the second place car. He's trying to keep close tabs on that 24 of William Byron, and he may. Well, he's all bottled up here.
He's got Truex hot on its tail too. Mired in heavy traffic. This is an opportunity for Truex. If he gets bottled up and lifts one time, Truex will be there to take it.
Well, and that's the really interesting part about this racetrack. You know, we watched Ryan Blaney just kind of driving around out there, leading the race, no problem, and all of a sudden it's like a light switch, and that's the way that this racetrack is, as the rubber changes and moves around, and everything starts to happen with the rubber on the racetrack. So it's a fun racetrack to drive, but also super frustrating.
102 laps complete, 18 to go in stage one, the shortest of the 3 stages here at Dover. We will take you Fox side by side.
What does it take to become a legend? Generations of victory,
One of the great masters of the sport.
motor oil in your veins. Does it take irrational confidence? A little bit of last lap magic? What about fandom that runs in the family? A track where every mile becomes a memory. Or maybe it's simply knowing that new legacies are built one lap at a time.
Toyota Racing is looking for iron stomachs that can stand the pressure. This season, we want you. Join us at Toyota Racing. Toyota Racing is looking for quick draw thumbs that leave their own smoke trail. This season, we want you. Join us at Toyota Racing.
And they're all coming?
Those who are still with us, yes.
What's this? Your wings.
Light them up.
Gentlemen, it's a beautiful day to fly.
Arby's Free Sandwich Month is nearly over, meaning Arby's haters have one last chance to be proven wrong about Arby's. Buy Arby's on Arby's dime. Online only. Arby's, we have the meat.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
What does fearless look like? Like trading paint with a champion? Find out for yourself. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
12 to go in stage one. William Byron out in front of Tyler Reddick by 1.3. And Martin Truex on Reddick's tail. A couple of drivers that have had issues. Todd Gilliland back out on track after bringing out the first caution at lap 40. He is 10 laps down. Austin Dillon just pitted with a flat tire. He is 2 laps in arrears in the number 3. And Ryan Preece, well, all the foam burned out, but they weren't sure of the cause or what would happen next, so they're going to leave that car in the garage and let it cool down before they load it in the hauler. But Preece's day is over.
That'd be a smart move. That's a good way to make your day worse. Put that thing in the hauler and burn it down. I'd take it apart before I did. Heating up
for the lead as they catch Daniel Suarez. Hey, hats off to Daniel. He is going to take his American citizenship test tomorrow.
Very cool. Oh, that was as close as it gets to a wreck.
Yep.
Very tight there, Kevin.
Well, that's just one of those situations where everything has to merge back into the exit of the corner, and it gets so much narrower, and the bottom car wants to go up, and there has to be room for that top car to have a lane.
And look who's right behind Reddick. Those cars, those 2 cars of Toyotas, their ability. Let's watch this. This was so close.
Yeah, you see Reddick's car just take off tight, and the air from that car just kind of pushed the back of William Byron's car and almost made it get loose there.
Suarez fighting hard here with only 8 laps to go in the stage. Couldn't quite manage to trying to stay right on the tail end of the lead lap.
Well, this could be the difference in making his day or breaking his day. You know, staying on the lead lap and not having to go to the back of this field. Obviously, his car doesn't have the speed that it needs to, and he needs to be able to line up where he needs to in order, not have to go to the back.
Truex underneath of him. He's all the way from 15th, guys. There he is, rolling that bottom. I love the way that car's rolling the bottom. He said that to us in pre-race, Kevin. That's what he wanted to do. That's what he likes, how he likes to get around this thing. Watch him get to the gas and really shoot through the center all the way to the lead, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, that's how you make passes most efficiently, when everybody else is up the racetrack, because they can't run the bottom. And that's what always makes Martin good here, is he typically can run this line longer than everybody else and make lap time with it.
Going to get another one. Move Suarez out of the way. That was important.
Truex becomes the 4th leader of the day, trying to pick up where his younger brother Ryan left off yesterday, winning the Xfinity race here.
You see how Byron's car, he tried to run that bottom and the nose just wouldn't hold. It took off up the racetrack. That's what this 19 car Truex is being able to do.
Well, let's back up.
Way on the bottom.
Let's back up to the beginning of the season. We talked about this a lot. This is a new Camry this year, and the downforce that we think that they carry compared, you know, to how it hurts them on other tracks. When you go to places like this is what saves the tires. This is what allows you to run longer, faster than everybody else. And we talked about it a lot at the beginning of the year, but those Toyotas are strong when it comes to these downforce racetracks.
And when's downforce show up?
Late in the
these runs.
You know, most of the field ran their fastest lap so far in the first 5 laps of this race. But drivers that ran it late, lap 50 or later, Truex, Larson, Bowman, Elliott, they're all contenders. Reddick in third, 1 second off the lead. 3 to go. And Larson continues to march forward. Remember, he started 21st.
Oh, we got one on the wall, Mike.
That's Keselowski. Gosh. And this will end the stage as caution comes out.
Right rear tires down, Kevin.
You're good. Get it rolling. And you're good.
Second caution of the day, and they'll come around under caution to complete stage number 1. Here's a look from the BuildSubmarines.com cam.
You go, 3 to go. And outside, middle of the track, you'll see him.
Trying to stay off of Noah in front of him.
I think I actually heard the tire actually coming apart there, Clint. You could actually hear it on the in-car camera, and that right rear tire is. It sounded like it was coming apart.
Well, it's still up right there.
Yeah, but I think that when they get low like that, I mean, we might have to go back and listen again. Just listen in the sound. I think I could hear it. Hear it?
I think you're hearing
tick,
things.
tick, tick, tick.
I think he got loose underneath of it. Maybe. Yeah. I can say this. That's my ride home, so I'm glad that you got it going and moving forward.
Keselowski started the day 24th. He was running 13th at the time of the spin.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens when you get that worn out tire and get it down to the cords like that, the tread will actually start coming apart, and you could hear that tire.
Deep into this run, it's when it was going to happen.
Yeah, and my hearing's not too bad. Maybe you should check yours.
So Larry Mack, we had 72 green flag laps there from the first to the second caution. Pretty good indicator of how tires are holding up here today, would you say?
Well, yeah, I think all the crew chiefs really wanted to see this run. To your point, 73 laps, ended up being about 70, but that would be splitting that final longer stage in half. That's 150 laps.
Hard behind the Ford Mustang Dark Horse pace car. Martin Truex Jr.'s Toyota takes its 5th stage win at Dover, second only to Kevin Harvick's 6 stage wins here. Cheerleaders and mascots at Dover, the Delaware Blue Hens, University of Delaware. Thought I saw the Towson Tiger here as well.
Oh, there he is.
Bottom right area. There you go.
That's no tiger.
Oh, there was. You saw it.
There's the
That's
tiger.
the tiger.
And here's Jamie.
Well, Mike, Alex Bowman's pit crew is a group of young guys that have only been together a handful of years, all former athletes. And when it comes to pitting together, they tell me it's all about the brotherhood. Here's Team 48.
Donnie Tasser, front tire changer. Former University of Pittsburgh wrestler. This is my 10th season with Hendrick Motorsports. 2021 Cup Series champion.
Andrew Bridgeforth, rear changer, Slippery Rock University. Team captain, unofficially.
Brandon Greer, tire carrier, West Charlotte High School alumni, former Appalachian State linebacker. I've been carrying tires for 10 years.
Alan Holman, the Jackman, former Shippensburg University All-American linebacker and Defensive Player of the Year, part of the 405 Bench Club. And shout out to my mom. Hey, Mom.
Jacob Conley, fueler, former offensive lineman at Doane University, 2-time Xfinity Series champion. Hey, kids.
That's fun.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. That's a great time, and you're definitely not part of the 405 club.
405.
Yeah. What do you bench, about 120?
Blake Harris, the crew chief, in his 4th season as a crew chief, second with Alex Bowman, engineered Martin Truex Jr.'s 2017 championship, and Kevin Hamlin is the spotter up on the roof.
That's always been my problem with the gym, Kevin.
What?
Weights are too heavy.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Saturday, baseball night in America. Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor power the Mets against the Rays, or you'll see Julio Rodriguez and the Mariners take on the Astros. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on Fox. Check for the game in your area.
Pit time. We made some adjustments. Get them tires on, no mistakes.
Biggest movers, Chase Elliott up 20 spots, Kyle Larson up 16, Christopher Bell up 15. Off the pace, Michael McDowell down 21, Chase Briscoe lost 16 spots on that run, Austin Dillon 12.
That was pretty cool. Did you see the wedge wrench on his helmet? That's in the ready.
Jamie.
Tyler Reddick in the 45 told his crew, I don't know what to ask you for. I'm actually pretty happy with my car. It comes in from the 3rd spot. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. Meanwhile, the 48, you just met Team 48 as they go over the wall for Alex Bowman. He says that the balance is a little bit better that time, said there's just a lack of grip. Regan.
William Byron in the 24 car needs just a little bit of rear lateral security with the back of that car. It's sliding around too much. And Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 car said he's just a little bit freer in that run. They're going to make a small adjustment to keep up with where they think the track's going.
Corey Heim in the 43 had gained a lot of spots, but they had to come back to the right rear tire to retighten it. So he'll give up what he gained on that run. Truex and Byron.
Whoo, that's close.
Martin Truex Jr., stage winner at Dover. No surprise, but it's only stage 1 of 3 complete. Tune into Race Hub weeknights on FS1 for expert analysis, opinions, and all the interviews we didn't have time to get on before we leave the air at the end of the race. Daniel Suarez and Clint Boyer will guest on Wednesday's show. Never know who's going to drop by. NASCAR Race Hub on FS1, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are ready to go for the start of stage 2 here at Dover Motor Speedway. Martin Truex, William Byron, Ryan Blaney out at the front of the field. And a great run by Corey Heim, substituting for Eric Jones. He got up to 24th, as there's what happened to Jones when a whole group of Toyotas piled up in turn 3 at Talladega after executing great pit strategy. And unfortunately, a back injury going to keep Eric out of today's race, and we're not sure for how long, but we want to check with him. How are you doing?
I'm good. I feel better really every day. So that's a positive. As long as I'm feeling better every day and feel like I'm healing up, obviously I think that's a good sign to get coming back. So feeling good, and you know, obviously glad to be here supporting Corey and 43 group today and seeing them kind of steadily work forward here.
Well, I like the fact that you're here, Eric. And is there anything that you've learned while you're sitting up on the pit box that you didn't know or look at a little bit differently since you've had a short amount of time to sit there?
Yeah, there's a lot of trash talk on the intercom that I don't really pick up.
Yeah, don't listen to that.
So yeah,
Channel 2 is never good for us drivers.
They trash talk about everybody, man. In the booth, on the track, they're good.
Hey, wait a minute! Whoa, hey!
I don't know, man. But yeah, they've been good. It's been neat to see it from a different perspective. It's been a long time since I've sat on a pit box or watched a race really anywhere. So kind of neat to get a good perspective in a time where obviously I can't be in the seat and cheering these guys on.
You know, obviously just a huge hit. Take us back to that. I mean, unbelievable. You guys had the strategy. I thought, man, these boys are in the catbird seat. They're going to win this race. This was awesome, exactly as planned. And then it wasn't, and just such a huge impact.
Yeah, big wreck for sure. You know, probably the biggest hit I've taken, and just glad to be, you know, fairly unscathed. Obviously, I have to sit this week out, but you know, hoping to be back really soon. Obviously, coming up some good tracks for us in the 43 historically with myself in there. So, hoping to be back soon. Glad, you know, up walking around, able to be here this weekend. I was pretty sore early in the week, so like I said, feeling better and better, and hope to be sitting in that thing quick.
Well, thanks for joining us. Keep the headset on a bit. We'll check with you a little later here in stage 2.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Eric.
Eric Jones, who's number 43, will restart 26 with Corey Heim aboard. We're back to green. Martin Truex outside William Byron for the lead.
Well, we noted William Byron's car really took off, had great speed on the front side of that run. Surely some adjustments were made. Let's see if they were what he needed.
Well, one thing I noticed right there is the back of Martin Truex's car bottom out, and you can see that dust come out of the diffuser. You want to run the back of this car as low as you can to make as much downforce as you can with that diffuser. So the attitude is down in the back and up in the front, but Martin Truex is making it happen.
Saw Denny Hamlin try to get underneath Blaney there getting in at 3, had to wash up, hit the brakes, and open the door up for Larson to get underneath him. A little bit of frustration there.
Alex Bowman out of turn 2, making hay on the outside and making a pass. Larson, Bowman, Elliott, 6, 7, 8. Those Hendrick cars, but for Byron all together once again.
Always really tricky on these restarts to be able to navigate the rubber that's still on. Saw Kyle Larson get a little bit tight up off the corners. Close quarters right there with those two.
Him and Denny are actually hitting down the back straightaway.
5th place at stake there.
Denny holding tough on that outside. Very close. This is that pass we were talking about earlier, Kevin. Sometimes you get underneath of them, it's one thing, but making and completing the pass is another, especially on these fresh tires. Could take 3 or 4 laps before one of them slips up or just gives up.
Yeah, and you see both of them racing really, really hard. Everybody knows how important that track position is, and you don't want to give up one spot, but they are costing themselves some time with the cars in front of them.
Absolutely. Look at the gap between in front of these guys. They're driving off from them. You got to get this sorted out.
Yeah, right now they're costing themselves about 0.3 of a second a lap.
And a lot of tire wear too, right?
But you don't want to give up the spot. One spot and working to get one spot and giving up one spot going backwards just makes it so they have to start over. And then you're having to do everything that you just did to get alongside the car and try to complete the pass. You have to start that process again.
And no give at all between these two.
Never is.
No, Hamlin almost got cleared out in turn number 1, but now he enters 3 side by side, and Larson edges ahead. Hamlin steams around the outside and noses ahead once again.
It can be frustrating. It's a product of this racetrack.
Logano, Bell for 19th. You got Gibbs and Chastain for 15th. A lot of good battles here.
Yeah, you see Christopher Bell on the inside of Joey Logano right there. We hadn't heard anything out of Joey Logano today. Those guys are, definitely on 2 different agendas, as Christopher Bell has come through the field twice. As you see, the 77 car, Carson Hocevar put him 3 wide.
Bell almost got in the wall on that outside. If he did, it was close, Kevin.
That was almost one of those 12 wheels corner better than 4 situations. That was tense.
I had to do some quick math right there, Mike. I'm a little slow. 12, 8.
I don't know that I was looking at Bell's car on that right rear. It was close. That was pretty sketch.
Well, one guy that doesn't have any problems right now is leading this race, and that's Martin Truex Jr. And as we've talked about all day so far, he's just right along the bottom of the racetrack. Larry's been telling us about that nice smooth throttle transition he has to keep that speed up through the middle of the corner, and clean air right now. But we also saw him be able to make his car last longer into the run. Turns better than everybody else, in a great position right now. But this racetrack can switch like that. I mean, it takes not anything drastic, whether it's temperature, caution, whatever it is. The handling of your car can be different when you fire that next set of tires on there just because of something that happened to the racetrack. So you never know where this is going to go.
Alex Bowman goes way up high, chasing Denny Hamlin and trying to keep Kyle Busch behind him simultaneously.
Larry, what do you got on Truex?
Yeah, I've been watching the last 10 laps, which is since that last restart. And right now, at least on fresh tires, where Martin really holds an advantage is he's able to get down in the corner deeper and not pay the price in the middle. A lot of times you'll pay the price doing that, but right now he's not.
Well, that's that balance that we talk about. How low can we get the back of the car to be able to drive into the corner hard in turn 3 and be able to not have those limiters or anything mess you up on the entry to the corner. So these cars are notorious. If you can figure out how to get into the corner hard and make lap time there, it's a huge advantage.
That's that downforce showing that you spoke of, and now the equals grip.
Truex, Reddick, and Hamlin, 3 Toyotas at this moment, are the fastest cars on the racetrack. $150 laps complete next time by in the Worth 400 from Dover, Delaware on FS1. Truex leading Byron, Reddick, and Blaney, but the most entertaining group has been from Kyle Larson on back, where 5 cars run just the same distance apart every lap, but they all take different lines. Here's Chase Elliott.
I definitely got the wall good, but it was flush. My wheel has not moved. Just FYI.
He was battling Kyle Busch when that happened, and I believe Busch got a piece of the wall as well. Busch just ahead of Elliott here.
Oh yeah, you heard him lift right before he crested that hill, and Kyle Busch hit it, and he hit it too. So
a lot of times that happens. That car in front of you gets aero tight, and you get in their wake. He hits the wall, you drive right into it as well.
William Byron coming back for second place against Tyler Reddick. They are 1.2 behind the leader.
Well, and we just heard Tyler Reddick, I don't need any changes to my car, and you see William Byron go right by him. So that's what I was talking about a few minutes ago. This racetrack is so finicky and so different. When the sun is out and the shadows start coming in, it'll change even more. So it's just it's an easy place to lose track of your car and not know why.
It's a lot like we saw that last run too. Byron's car takes off well, starts getting tight in the center of the corner, and that's when Truex and Reddick was able to capitalize.
Blaney in fourth after leading 45 laps earlier. And then that group we spoke of now headed up by Bowman first. Here's Regan.
Well, Mike, you see Ryan Blaney right now in fourth, as you just mentioned. Not too bad overall, but as the run goes on, he has trouble with the car in turns 3 and 4 in particular. Exit at turn 4, he is tight. When he hits the rubber, I know we've talked about that a lot today, but when he hits the rubber, it takes off and is very unpredictable for him.
Well, that's been one of the big problems with the Ford, is just to get the front end to change directions through the center of the corner. And when you get into a situation like this, you have a bunch of wheel into it, and the car just won't change directions to turn with the front end.
That's an aero balance, right, Kev?
Yep.
Kyle Larson started deep in the field for him, 21st. After winning here in 2019, he's 5th, and he's got a mirror full of Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, two drastically different lines. You see Denny running the upper groove right there, kind of that straight entry shooting up the racetrack. You see a different strategy of Alex Bowman here right across the bottom of the racetrack. Knows how to make that work. He's been to victory lane. Jamie?
That's right, Kevin. He won back here in 2021, and he's so happy to be back. This is his favorite racetrack. Had to sit out last year because he had a broken back. They've been working on this race car, trying to get him a little bit more grip, but happy with it. The more technical the track, the better for Alex Bowman. Keep your eye on the 48 before it's all over.
So about 3/4 of a second behind Bowman will be Kyle Busch, pole sitter for today's race. Here's Regan.
Well, Mike, Kyle Busch needed some adjustments after that first run. He's actually getting better. They feel like they're making gains on his race car. Still lacks grip overall with the car everywhere, primarily after 30 laps. After 30 laps, the car just falls off too much for him.
He led 33 laps from the start of the race. Chase Elliott still working his way to the front. Now, Elliott just ran his fastest lap of the race about 20 laps ago here. And completing the top 10, A.J. Allmendinger.
Great runs by these cars.
Only his 4th start of the season. Full-time in Xfinity, part-time in Cup this year.
There's another good run. Stenhouse right behind him. Regan, what you got?
You're right, Clint. A great run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. so far. They moved up 6 spots from where they started. Right now he's just a little bit loose off of the throttle and a little bit loose initially in the throttle. But when he goes to full throttle, he is raving about his race car. Says he has the most grip of any point in the corner when he's full throttle. And guys, you know, we're on throttle here a lot at Dover. That's very important.
Yeah, funny that you say that. Not only does that Hungry Jack car make me hungry with pancakes on the side of it, but I saw him post a post of looking at data, so I snapshotted it and pulled up the data and looked, and I'm like, he was comparing himself to Kyle Larson, and I could see the blue line compared to the orange line was to the throttle way sooner. So it's interesting that you hear him talk about that, because it was his car in the data and being able to put the throttle down really quick.
I saw you and Josh come in late for breakfast this morning, but you did get a waffle, right?
I did have a waffle.
Okay.
Yes, you exposed me here, Mike.
Starting to slip there, Kev. That's retirement starting to settle in. Hey, don't forget you got to fit in that little kid's 5 car. The boy's pretty small.
That's right. If you missed it in pre-race at the All-Star race, Kyle Larson's going to be at Indianapolis. So who's going to practice the car for the All-Star race? Kevin Harvick in the number 5.
That's cool, man. I'm excited for you.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, no pressure.
Filling it all out. No pressure.
Yeah.
Definitely won't be able to use the seat though.
Not with that TV diet you got going on.
Saw Chris Buescher in 13th for Roush Fenway Kozlowski. And here is Ty Gibbs in 14th. He was 18th at the restart and started the day in 19th. Had 5 straight top 10s to start the season, but hasn't had a top 10 since COTA in Austin, Texas. Austin Cindric completes the top 15. Started just missed the top 10 in qualifying. Started 11th today. Martin Truex Jr., last year's winner here at Dover in a Truex Brothers sweep of the Saturday and Sunday races. Could it happen again this year?
What does it take to become a legend? Generations of victory.
One of the great masters of the sport.
Motor oil in your veins. Does it take irrational confidence? A little bit of last lap magic. What about fandom that runs in the family? A track where every mile becomes a memory. Or maybe it's simply knowing that new legacies are built one lap at a time.
.172 complete. Martin Truex out front. 52 laps into stage 130. There's the Brestry onboard camera for Austin Dillon, who pit with what he thought was a flat tire. The team said it was not, but he is 2 laps down. How about a shout out for Corey Heim? Not only is he in relief of Eric Jones, who joined us just at the start of this stage to discuss what happened to him last week at Talladega, but it's in the King's colors. It's STP is the primary sponsor, and that's no throwback scheme. That's today's paint scheme for the 43. And I just saw him down in turns 1 and 2 laps ago, running the Harry Gant groove. He was right up there 1 or 2 feet from the wall. He's having a great day.
And found some speed up there. Deep into that last run, he passed several cars right there at the end. Obviously made a little bit of a mistake and slid through the box. But I think he can still, we talked about it, Kevin. I think a top 20 run would be fantastic for him in his debut here, and I think it's still on the table for him.
Well, that's about where that car runs, right? You know, 15th to 20th, and I think first day, first Cup race, tough racetrack, running all the laps. Right now he's still on the lead lap, and just really understanding what this is all about is important.
That group of drivers, 3 of them were champions. First start here.
Making the pass there on Michael McDowell, who is 1 lap down. And let's get an update on the 43 from Jamie.
Yeah, what a day it's been for Corey Heim. Just so many things he's learning. The good news for him, though, he is the relief driver for 2311 and Legacy Motor Club. He's in the shop every week. He knows all these guys, so it's not a shock to him to come in and have to learn all these new faces. He told me it's his goal just to run every lap, like you said, Kevin. Just learn as much as he can. They also told him that you are our driver. As long as Eric Jones is out, you are the guy. So there's a chance he'll be back in next week as well. But look at him making moves and learning every lap.
Thanks, Jamie. He's going past Corey LaJoie there, and that is for position for 25th place. Let's go back up into the top 10, and here's our pole sitter, Kyle Busch, who restarted 8th, is running 8th, but not happy.
God, this is terrible. I get it. We're running 8th here. 9 doing one that's a vacated pace with us. Nikki Peggy's top for us here.
Meanwhile, Kyle Larson continues to move up. Here he is outside Tyler Reddick. This is for 3rd.
Yeah, and that 5 car has been able to make that middle groove, Clint, work a little bit better than most people. So you see him around Tyler Reddick right there, but he did that in the middle lane, not having to be all the way at the bottom or all the way at the top, and I view that as a good thing.
All right, we're 6 laps or so away from green flag pit stop, so good time to step aside and go Fox side by side with Martin Truex out front and over.
This is the make or break moment.
Oh my goodness!
Not just for the day, but for the years to come. This is where a race isn't just about the race. It's about the doors it can open.
That kid is amazing.
The number of fans wearing your number. This is the chance to carve your name into the history books. This is the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
All the parts you need at the prices you want. Guaranteed to fit every time. So you can keep your ride or die alive.
Toby, why aren't you eating your Cinnabon pull-apart?
Well, I wanted to save the best part for last, but it's all the best part. I don't know where to begin.
Toby, eat your breakfast.
Maybe I just smell it.
The best part of Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon pull-apart is all the parts.
What a lovely place.
Oh, the kids weren't joking. This place is something else. Straight from the history books it is. Now to find that fudge we heard so much about.
Well, that didn't take long.
You can thank Junior for that.
Green flag pit stops at Dover. Regan.
William Byron in the 24 car, just a little bit too free this last run. Needs some front turn now this run, a little tight. Jamie.
Kyle Larson made his stop. They made more tire adjustment. Balance pretty good for Kyle Larson as they continue to work.
Byron's car fell off the jack right there, Kev.
Yeah, there was no left front tire on that car, and it was sitting on the ground.
Big mistake. This is a stop that'll hurt you. It'll cost you big on a green flag stop. Cannot afford to make mistakes.
We talk about it every week, and this pit road is as easy as any pit road to make mistakes, but these pit crew guys are right on that edge with these 9-second pit stops.
Now Ryan Blaney cycled through to the lead. He and Kyle Busch now on pit road. Ty Gibbs.
This is when you
get the lead.
Yeah,
but
sorry, Mike.
Pit road
this
too.
is when you don't want to have a speeding penalty. This is when you don't want to have those guy over the wall too soon and have to come back to pit road, because you will lose more time and probably a lap or two on pit road trying to make that correction of the penalty.
So holding out are Corey LaJoie and Daniel Suarez. They were at the tail end of the lead lap, and they are staying out, trying to catch a caution and trying to stretch this green flag run.
Well, one thing I noticed on that stop, Kevin, that 5 car's in front of the 19, your leader. Pitted a little bit earlier. I don't know about the stop itself, but he definitely took advantage of that green flag stop. If it cycles, as long as it cycles, that'll be your leader.
So we know from the early long green flag run that these teams should be able to go 73 laps. That means that LaJoie would not have to pit until lap 195, 197 or so, but you're losing a lot of time in doing this. So he enters turn 3 with a 24-second lead on Kyle Larson. As you see at the diagram at the upper left of the screen, the first of the cars that pitted. Karsten Hocevar, a pit penalty.
Suarez on pit road. That leaves LaJoie the only one left out there.
Larry, not the first time Corey LaJoie has done this contrary strategy. Sometimes it pays off.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the race. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is be one of the last to pit. But, Mike, if you stay out there and you catch a caution, and we know a caution is always lurking at Dover, you've got everybody that's pitted 1 to 2 laps down. So you might, follow the leader. You know what you'll do? You'll follow the leader.
Right.
Get out of the box and try something different.
So only 6 cars are on the lead lap officially, as long as Corey LaJoie stays out and leads this race. But look at the variance in speeds. There are 4 miles an hour difference. Michael McDowell, Zane Smith, they have also not made pit stops in this sequence. Austin Dillon was in earlier.
Okay, help me with this, Larry. How did this 5 outduel the 19 in this pit stop scenario?
All about the pit stop, Clint. The 5 was a 9.94. The 19 was a 12.74. But what slowed the 19 pit stop down, he had to go around the 77 car, and that threw the crew off.
There it is. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, and the crew chiefs on pit road, they try to coordinate, with trying to be 1 lap apart so you don't have to go around the car or pull out from behind the car. But sometimes when there's this much lap time, to be able to give up and gain, you wind up on pit road together. But it cost Martin Truex Jr. big.
So 7th place now for Kyle Busch, ahead of Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney has unlapped himself from Corey LaJoie. So that would leave Stenhouse, the first car, 1 lap down. And there in that middle box, Larson and Truex, you see the difference in the pit stop between those two.
Easy to do in a green flag stop. So much going on.
Carson Hocevar makes his penalty drive down pit road. And William Byron, whose car came off the jack without the wheel attached, he is a lap down in 19th place now.
Well, we talk about it, and I just mentioned it a few minutes ago. These teams are just, there's so much pressure on these pit crews. I can't overstate how close they are to disaster every time they make a pit stop. And the timing of that pit stop, if somebody has trouble, I think this is probably what happened with William Byron's car, is they dropped the jack thinking it was on there, and that front tire changer didn't have the wheel on from something that had happened.
So based on what we've seen earlier for the longest green flag run, Corey LaJoie needs to come to pit road here in the next 4 or 5 laps.
You're going to go as long as you can.
Yeah, you
either they catch you and pass you, that they being Larson, Truex, Reddick, those guys, or you run out of gas.
You ever heard the phrase made your bed, you don't have to lay in it now? That's where he's at.
Laying in the bed you made, that's right.
Well, there's the green flag cycle, and look at how much William Byron lost with a 24-second pit stop.
Well, I'm not very good at math, but that looks like 15 seconds, Clint.
Yeah, it was big. I mean, we noted that. Obviously, I'm sorry, I was trying to find LaJoie, trying to find the gap on LaJoie and Larson to figure out when they're going to be able to catch him.
15 seconds is the time gap on the stopwatch, and that, of course, ever shrinking. But LaJoie's laps are only about 6 or 7 tenths slower than Larson's right this moment.
Well, I appreciate the fact that they're trying to make something happen, right?
Sure.
Like Larry said, you're trying to hope for that caution and really leapfrog a bunch of track position. You're not up in the front of the racetrack or up in front of the field, so you might as well try something out of the box.
6 tenths the difference that time. With Larson now in second place, Larson, Truex, Reddick, that's how it would cycle through. And there A.J. Allmendinger getting one back. Put him back on the lead lap.
Well, right now, Corey LaJoie, as he gets close to pitting, he's going to come off of turn 2, and you're going to get down the back straightaway, and you're going to pit. There's a 3-2-1 cone on the wall. You're probably going to go at least to the 2 cones, most likely to the bridge, and then you're going to downshift all the way to second gear. So he's going to have to start getting all that in his head and make sure he gets the most out of all he can get all the way to the speed line coming onto pit road.
Josh Berry just got his lap back from the leader. Larry, looks like LaJoie's going to stay out there till Monday.
Yeah, I mean, fuel-wise, Mike, he can go about another 15 to 20 laps, but I would start getting nervous about this tire situation right now, because we've had nobody run this far, even close to it on a set of tires all weekend long.
Second place, Kyle Larson. Martin Truex closing in here. He was a quarter second faster than Larson last time by. Now, Ryan Blaney was not one of the first to pit by staying out 3 extra laps from those who pitted first in this cycle. He ended up losing 4 positions.
Well, that's the challenge of when to pit, and when you stay out trying to work those things out on pit road, like we talked about, the lap time can be such a drastic loss that you see all the lap times.
LaJoie's last lap just fell off a full second, so nope, he's staying out. Might have been traffic.
Might have been traffic, but these tires just shut off, right? We saw that with Brad Keselowski. I know he said that he just spun the car out, but it was most likely because there was no rubber on the right rear tire. And so when that rubber is officially gone, the back of the car just starts to slide around, and it just shuts off completely.
100%, but again, goes back to what Larry said. I mean, you're laying in the bed you made. You've got to keep going as long as you can until you maybe hear it start to unravel like you're talking about. But you're going until you run out of gas or that 5 car catches you.
So Corey LaJoie has led 18 laps so far. Larson now 10 seconds behind. Berry, Chastain, and Byron have now passed him to get back on the lead lap.
And that's what all these cars that are going by. You see Joey Logano right now going by Corey LaJoie, put himself back on the lead lap. You do not want to be a lap down and put yourself in a position to have to take that wave around. You want to try to get by the leader as quick as possible.
Well, 10 or more years ago, this would have been a great strategy because we had caution flags with a pretty good frequency for one reason or another. But these cars don't break, they don't crash that often, and hoping for a caution, kind of a wing and a prayer strategy these days.
I don't know,
right?
Mike. I don't know. Yesterday, qualifying and practice took almost 3 hours. We had them crashing, spinning out.
That's true.
We had all kinds of stuff. So that's the very crazy part about Dover is it kind of goes in phases of what's good and what's bad.
Well, LaJoie's lap times have now fallen to almost the 25-second range. So here's a look using our ghost car at Larson in second on new tires, and LaJoie at the end of his run still the race leader now by 7.5 seconds.
Biggest thing, Kevin, and you alluded to it, as long as he keeps the traffic, obviously everybody's on tires, he keeps coming around and forces his hand a little bit, slows his lap times down. But his lap times are pretty respectable compared to the leaders as long as he can run where he wants to run with a clean racetrack.
Yeah, like that lap he ran at 24.69. So, you know, you look back at where he was running. I mean, they're a few tenths faster than that, but it's not like a drastic difference from his track position that he had before.
We're going to need a caution pretty soon, though.
Yeah,
something's going to have to happen for this strategy to play out.
Austin Cindric on the way to try to get his lap back. He's the 21st place car.
Austin Dillon back on pit road.
Yep.
This would be a second time.
Well, he was off sequence. He was last on pit road at lap 103 when he thought he had a flat tire. Turned out not to be. 41 to go in stage 2. Corey LaJoie continuing to lead on a long run strategy. He was last in the pits 85 laps ago. Kyle Larson now 6 seconds back, the first of the cars that pitted in that lap 181 to 185 range. That shows you the gap first to second, with Truex third and Reddick fourth, Bowman fifth, Busch sixth, all in a row.
See our pole sitter Kyle Larson right there, or Kyle Busch in the 8 car. He's been up and down today. He's had a good car, bad car, and I think that's very much what Dover is about. It's going to go in those cycles, and as a driver, you just got to stay in there and grind. And you know, when I'm explaining, hey, what do you need to do today? Just whatever happens this lap, reset yourself every single corner to say, okay, analyze the car. How hard do I need to drive it? Lose me the least amount of time as possible so that I lose the least amount of track position as possible when your car is bad or it's falling off or whatever it is. And that's what Kyle Larson or Kyle Busch has done today.
It's a very temperamental racetrack, too. I mean, a half pound of air pressure sometimes, you can throw it out to lunch. You're like, what did you do? 1/2 of a pound of air pressure, Clint. Oh, well, try to take that half back out next time. That wasn't no good.
And it'll give you this sensation that something is majorly wrong, right? You know, that half pound. But that can go with, you know, a caution in the rubber being picked up off the racetrack, or the shadows coming over the back straightaway wall and shadowing the exit of turn 2 and the entry to turn 3. So there's just so many things that are so sensitive here at Dover.
All right, Larry, next time by, it'll be 90 laps for Corey LaJoie on this set of tires. It's like sitting on a hot stove.
Yeah, all he's got, though, Mike, honestly, I mean, I know the pace has slowed down, but he's only got about 8 to 10 more laps on the fuel in that 7 car.
Jamie?
And as Corey LaJoie continues to lead his first laps ever at Dover, I just checked with the team. They told him just keep running it till those lights come on for fuel. So run it out as long as you can as Larson goes to the inside, Mike.
Now, rather, that's Justin Haley who made the pass on Corey, getting a lap back. He was 2 laps down. So run until it stops. That's a strategy. And as we say, Corey LaJoie, he likes being a contrary. If you hear his podcast, he likes doing things differently than everybody else.
I'm impressed with the lap times that the car is still being able to run, and the fact that the tires still have air in them is pretty good.
More importantly,
yeah.
Well, hey, he got to give luck a chance to operate sometimes. I mean, he was running 25th. That's not where they want to be. They want to be up here leading laps, and that's exactly what they're doing. And wow, that was pretty close.
He's led 31 so far, 32 this time by, but Larson has closed the gap to a 1.5 seconds.
There he is. You can see him now.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Kyle Larson and what's behind him is the 19 car and how it's stacked at what will be second, third, and fourth up behind him with Reddick and Kyle Busch behind them and Alex Bowman. So I think the 19 car has a little bit more pace than the 5 car, but can't get close enough to really get there.
Well, now it's a battle for the lead. LaJoie in that high line. Larson makes quick work of the lead. So, but for Corey LaJoie, that pit stop cycle is complete. Kyle Larson to the lead. Miles the Monster and the world's largest rubber duck. I don't know where they found that, but because Clint is laughing, I'm glad they did. Welcome back to the Worth 400 on FS1, presented by Breztree. Kyle Larson, the race leader. Corey LaJoie has made his pit stop.
Keselowski's off the pace here, guys. No power.
Yep, Brad's headed for pit road.
That's running.
It is.
You got to get your hearing checked.
13 to go, 23 to go, excuse me, in the stage. Regan.
Well, Mike, you see the 19 car, Martin Truex Jr. right there sliding back just a little bit right now as his teammate Denny Hamlin put some pressure on him. He's been quiet on the radio until a few laps ago came out and told the team, I have pushed the right front off of the car. He was right behind Kyle Larson earlier on in this run, said it did some damage to the right front. He struggled just a little bit right now.
Denny Hamlin underneath to take third. And here's why Keselowski has stopped.
Oh, that looked like a tire down or something, the way that thing took off, Kevin.
Yeah, it just drove. Well, and we saw that earlier. I mean, those tires that they took off the first time that he spun out, they were down to nothing.
Yeah, it was that car, by the way.
And I think when they get late in this run, that Brad's car just all of a sudden, it's not surprising to me that one lap you drive in there and expecting it to do something and it does something totally different, because that's what happens at Dover.
About Kyle digging back. Kyle Busch, that is.
9 times he's started on the pole and gone on to win in his career.
He might complain in that race car, but he never gives up.
He was definitely not happy with his car earlier in the race, but there's not anybody that's going to lead you down a better path to fix your car, because he knows a lot about it. He gives feedback in his way, but he cares, and that's why I think a lot of times you hear that emotion out of Kyle Busch. He just delivers it in a different way.
I tell you what,
now,
this 19 car's in trouble. That car fell off the pace quite a bit. You heard him say he pushed the right front off, but these guys are closing in on him fast.
Now here's how the green flag cycle played out, where they were before the stops and where they are now on the left. Corey LaJoie made his stop, went 2 laps down, and rocketed right past Kyle Larson to get one of them back. So he is 1 down now with 18 to go in the stage. Brad Keselowski back out there. Jamie.
Well, Brad Keselowski had talked about concern over his tires earlier in this run. Take a look at the inside of the right front. A strange cording on the inside, so he did flip the wall after that happened and came in and got new tires.
Just a lot of funny things that happen here at Dover to the tires, and it's so hard to make the tire be consistent every time you go on the racetrack, and you'll have, you know, some sort of funny situation like that, and you see Brad coming in again, where he just moved over.
I think he just yielded to Denny Hamlin going around him on the outside.
I got you. Yeah, I thought he was coming to pit road again, but
he's way off the pace, though. His car's hurt.
Keselowski now 4 laps down. 16 to go in stage 2. Chevy's out front. Larson and Bowman. Toyota's 3rd and 4th. Hamlin and Truex. The first Ford is Ryan Blaney in 8th as we go Fox side by side.
It's not about the cars, the speed, the action. It's not about the party or the long weekend. It's about them. me or the long weekend. It's about them, the ones that gave everything. This Memorial Day weekend, we honor the fallen at America's Home for Racing, the 65th running of the Coca-Cola 60.
Your best days of the year start here at Kubota Orange Days. It's the year's biggest selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. Plus the year's best deals, like 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,300 off select compact tractors. Orange goes all day, sales ending soon. Visit your local dealer today. Find your nearest dealer at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Here's one thing we can all agree on. Having more choices beats having less choices. That's why we make a range of Ford F-150 pickups for any job. Whether that job is getting heavy things where they need to go, powering things on the go, or going from 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Spring into savings this moving season with Pods. Save up to 25% now on moving and storage and see why Pods has been trusted with over 6 million moves. But don't wait. Save up to 25% now. Visit pods.com today.
Every Saturday, your game is on Fox. Because here is where it happens. Saturday on Fox, Judge swaggered up and went supersonic. True story. Saturday on Fox, Mookie put on a show in New York. You saw that, right? Saturday on Fox, Acuna racked these up on his way to the record. And it was Saturday on Fox when Harper went all Harper. So yeah, Saturday on Fox is where it happens.
What does it take to become a legend? Maybe it's simply knowing that new legacies are built one lap at a time.
9 to go in stage 2. 6 different leaders in this race, 6 lead changes. Kyle Larson, the most recent one, has been out front for the last 23 laps after passing Corey LaJoie.
The rubber just keeps building up on this racetrack, and look how it's caking up off of turn 4 is where this is. That causes these guys havoc. You have to navigate around it. Start to move up, diamond the corner, as Kevin was talking about earlier. Straddle it. Denny Hamlin's still able to roll that bottom really tight on the bottom. But look at that. That is a lot of rubber getting put down on this racetrack. That reminds me of the old days, Kev.
It really does. And like you say, you have to be able to navigate that to be able to get the angle of the car going straight. You have to split the rubber, try to be right below the rubber.
Denny Hamlin guns it for second against Alex Bowman.
Good day out of Alex Bowman. I mean, he's really put the day together to be able to keep himself up front. Former winner here. Both those cars are, but Alex Bowman needs a win.
I tell you what he's done, and obviously it's been a Byron, from what we've covered so far in this season, Byron and Larson conversation. Then all of a sudden Chase Elliott comes to the table and wins at Texas. All right, where's Alex Bowman? Where's the 4th win? And he's just creeping straight into that same conversation of being a contender.
And as a teammate to guys like all 3 cars being in victory lane, puts a lot of pressure on him.
Absolutely, of course, nothing worse.
Now they're only about a half a second behind leader Kyle Larson, who's going to come up on some cars trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. First the 31 of Daniel Hemrick, then the 43 of Corey Heim, then the 14 of Chase Briscoe. They're going to fight hard with only 5 laps to go in the stage.
Extremely hard.
Yeah, and if Larson catches these cars, it's definitely going to put them in a position where they probably check up, you know, the leader of Larson a little bit from a pace standpoint, because that's not going to be an easy pass for sure.
I'm tiptoeing around Jimmy Johnson, who is not on the lead lap. And Larson lines him up. 3 to go. Bowman closing in now with race traffic in front of the leader.
Yeah, and that's what we thought would happen. You know, it just makes it so that they get stacked up. And but you see Kyle Larson right on those guys, and there goes Alex Bowman around Jimmy Johnson.
So Hemrick and Heim are going to battle for the free pass position.
3 wide there for the leader. Got it sorted out back to 2 wide.
Well, this is what makes Kyle Larson so good. He'll be running the top, he'll be running the middle, and all of a sudden he'll shoot to the bottom and pass 2 cars. And he's just so good at being creative to make his car go and do different things at different points of when he needs it to do it.
But right behind the leader, there's the battle for the free pass, the 43 and the 31. 3rd place, Hamlin Truex. One of those two is going to get his lap back if they make it around.
The race within the race.
Hemrick took the spot. Kyle Larson for the stage win over teammate Alex Bowman. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch. And Daniel Hemrick gets the free pass as Larson scores his 6th stage win of 2024, tying Harvick and Byron for the most through 11 races in a season. Next Sunday on FS1, the NASCAR Cup Series runs the Advent Health 400 full throttle action in Kansas with pre-race at 2 Eastern and the green flag at 3 next Sunday on FS1. Last year's winner, Tyler Reddick.
I'm really interested to see what happens next week in Kansas. I know that's where you're from, Clint. I mean, will you actually show up on time?
You know what, I'm for the better part of my career, I didn't like Kansas Speedway. I was racing there.
Well, it didn't like you.
You're right. And then since replay, but in the last, 3 or 4 years, I brag on it, and I think it's the best racetrack we have. These guys have been able to put on awesome shows there. Cannot wait to go back home to Kansas and watch these guys do what they do. All over that racetrack. The high line, my gosh, Kevin, so much speed and energy created out there. You can shoot that bottom. Cool racetrack. But it's heating up here, too. I mean, obviously, the favorites, Larson's come a long ways. Talked to him last night over there in the casino. He was happy with his car, disappointed in himself with his qualifying run. Come all the way from 21st to the lead. But look down through this list. I mean, Busch is digging back up through there. Here comes Chase Elliott. Denny Hamlin slowly but surely getting quietly good. Stenhouse run in the top 10, in and around there all day long. Bubba Wallace is starting to creep into the top 10. Blaney's been there. These are, I think it's heating up, and it could come down to these pit stops. Mistakes being made are making the difference on this racetrack.
Well, you know it's going to come down to the pit stops. There's going to be somebody during this pit cycle that makes a mistake. We see it every time they come on pit road.
Well, the last one, that's how that 5 got the lead out of Truex. Lost it in the pits.
The final stage of this race is the longest. 150 laps. Here they come. Jamie.
Kyle Larson started 21st. There he picks up stage win number 2. Said he's just managing out there. Says he wants a water bottle, but he said, I can push when I need to. So the car is good. No adjustments needed. His teammate, the 48 of Alex Bowman, said his car's pretty good. Up top, though, it's really hard on the tires, so he's been trying to manage. Regan?
Well, Denny Hamlin just a little bit too tight this run overall. Also felt like the rubber on the racetrack tightened him up too much. Small adjustment for him. And the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., same thing. It was the rubber on the racetrack made his car go tight. They're not going to make any changes, though, for this run.
How about this, guys? 3 wide. I'll tell you, the move of the year, Alex Bowman. He backed out of harm's way. He got out of his pits ahead of the 5. Denny Hamlin came out. They were 3 wide, and the bologna in the sandwich was Bowman, and he just got out of there. Good for him.
Well, that's not the first time we've seen Denny Hamlin's crew put him in position, but he's in position, being the leader again.
Kyle Larson.
Shannon and Jamie here in the Race Day studios as we get you set for stage 3. The top 6 drivers are all past winners at Dover. Which of that group stands out to you, Jamie?
Well, I like Kyle Busch, and I know he's not a Gibbs or a Hendrick car, but Kyle Busch starts on the pole. You're going to see he's maintained a top 10 position all race long. Faded a little bit. You see down to 11th there at one point, but 7th in the first stage, 6th in the second stage. Like I said, led the first 33 laps. Has that #1 pit stall. If they can get him in and out of the pits at the end at the right time, he might be able to get it done today, Shannon.
Last time a driver started on pole and won the race, 2010. Guess who that was?
I'm going to go with Jimmy Johnson because he wins everything at Dover, right?
It's a pretty good guess. Back to you, Mike.
All right, well, let's have a look at that near incident on pit road. They came out, Hamlin, Larson, Bowman. Let's show you how they got 3 wide coming down the pit lane when Denny comes out of his pits. Now, something's got to give here.
Denny squeezed him pretty hard.
So are you backing up from the move of the year?
Move of the year, Mike.
Is that what you're saying, Mike?
You know, that could have been 2 or 3 wrecked race cars right there, but let's listen to how happy Alex Bowman is with his Hendrick teammate.
Much appreciated, 5 car. Dudes aren't going to give you all day. You've just taken. You've done awesome. Drive like the rest of the race. Stay locked in. Come on, let's go. Evan, just let me drive the great car.
Oh, boy.
I love drivers.
Right, so
that's that tension, though, you talked about, Kevin. The pressure is on with this guy.
Yeah, they're going to hug it out.
Yeah, that's his spotter right there, Kevin Hamlin. And you know, sometimes the spotters try to encourage you to do certain things, and you just don't want to hear it. And the car's going pretty good today for Alex Bowman, and now he's Kevin Hamlin looks mad.
All right, maybe it was just the move of the day. Will you let me have that?
I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so far.
So far.
Hey, the move of that.
At least he didn't yeet him.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Did you notice that the 11 card, Denny Hamlin, is in the lead for the first time today?
Well, we're going to see if he can hold the lead.
Hamlin is the race's 7th different leader as we get ready to go. It'll be 142 laps left to race in Dover. Toyota versus Chevy on the front row with Larson. Bowman and Kyle Busch, 2 Chevys in row 2, Truex and Elliott row 3, then Blaney the first Ford in 7th. Hamlin with a jump.
Big jump by 11, Denny Hamlin. That #1 stall, it's like you were talking about, and you heard Jamie McMurray talk about it. That #1 stall is keeping Kyle Busch in the game.
Busch in 4th, Truex in 5th. Did not get a good first lap of this run under green. Kind of falls back into the clutches of Blaney and Elliott.
Well, these restarts are so tricky here, and when you're on the outside or you have something go wrong or somebody slips up and you have to check up out of the throttle or you can't put the throttle down, you wind up just getting swarmed.
Single file back to Reddick in 9th place. Then it's double wide. Bubba Wallace edging past Stenhouse for 10th.
Ricky Stenhouse has had a good day all day. He's been right around that top 10.
He was runner-up here in 2022, Stenhouse, that is.
You look right behind them, and there's William Byron back there. I mean, he's the one that's had some costly errors, mistakes on pit road. This car was leading the race up front, looking good. Now he's back mired in traffic. You see him having trouble with it, too. Slipped up off of 2 again.
Chris Buescher to the inside. This is for 16th.
Things don't handle the same back there in that traffic, do they, Kev?
No, they do not. And the further you get back, the worse they handle.
Back there at 20th place, and back up to Buescher and Byron in 16th. So this will be a mulligan for Byron, who's had a fantastic start to the season, but this has just not been the 24's day.
Well, he just got himself put in a bad situation off of 2, and that thing took off in a push, had to lift, and Briscoe gets around him. He's in trouble. You get the things trimmed out to run up front in that clean air. It takes a different setup back there in the dirty air.
Well, and I look at the scoring monitor, and we see Ty Gibbs here running 8th.
That's the highest he's been all day.
That's right. And they've been battling through everything that they have had happen over the last few weeks. Need a good finish today, Clint.
Yeah, he for sure does. And he's just marching, follows suit with the rest of the Toyotas. Reddick, we've seen him up front. Wallace, you just talked about him slowly moving back up through the field. Ford camp, Blaney still is a lone wolf for the Ford camp, continues to shine. Last year's champion. He's carrying the flag for those guys almost every week.
First side-by-side battle is way back at 18th. That's Byron and Gregson.
Well, look at this scoring monitor, Mike. On this restart, this is the first time that Denny Hamlin's been in clean air. He ran his fastest lap of the race, 23:15. So did the first place car, the second place car, the third place car. So
ups and downs for Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas this season. Boy, they started off with wins in 3 of the first 4 races, all but Daytona. But in the last 3 races, no top 10 finishes, their longest stretch in over 20 years.
I think Denny called a shot this weekend somewhere on social media, too. Pretty confident in his race car.
well, right now he's making it happen. He's got a 2.7-second lead over Kyle Larson. And that's just what that team does. You know, they put themselves in position to take advantage of a good pit stop or a scenario, and all of a sudden there's Denny Hamlin at the front of the field, and you're like, where did that come from?
Experience.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of noise in driver introductions for Denny Hamlin, as there usually are. But I noticed this afternoon when they introduced the drivers, there were a lot more cheers than boos when Hamlin was introduced.
I heard all the boos today, and I thought it was for Chris Myers, but I don't know.
I'd say standing next to Michael Jordan this week in Victory Lane
doesn't hurt.
That wins some people over.
Regan?
Well, Mike, I love something we just heard on the radio for Denny Hamlin also. As soon as he got the lead, Chris Gabehart immediately reminded him, first clean air you have seen all day. Think about it. He wants his driver thinking about what the car is doing, so as they get later into the race, they know exactly what to change or not to change. Always thinking forward on this 11 car.
Absolutely. Now ponder this. Denny Hamlin has led at least 1 lap in 15 straight races, counting today. 130 to go in the Worth 400 at Dover. $124 laps to go. Time for the Credit One Bank ones to watch. I would pick the Rubber Duck, but I'm told he's ineligible.
I'm going to the 11 car, Denny Hamlin. It's because, Kevin, last night at dinner, I told you, I think he called his shot. I picked Hamlin as your winner. I'm sticking with my guy.
Well, I'm going to go with Kyle Larson because he's made his way back up through to the front of the field, led a bunch of laps today, and I think by the end of this race, they're going to close it out.
I'm looking at pole sitter Kyle Busch. He's won here 3 times. As we said earlier, 9 times he's won a pole and won the race on the same day. And who needs to win more than Kyle Busch?
Agree.
All right.
Well, we have some development on the racetrack. I can tell you that.
Go ahead. You can out me on this. Yes, I picked Martin Truex.
Look at this,
because I'm
guys.
a family guy, and Ryan won yesterday. Martin's trying to win for 2 in a row. But then the truck showed us this.
Not good. On the last restart, you could see Alex Bowman. He gets into Bowman pretty hard on the restart, actually really hard. Boom, right there. And it's messed it. There's a gap in between the splitter and the body front face on this car, Kevin.
Yeah, and usually when the nose and the splitter become separated like that, it's lights out because the car is going to get a lot tighter than what it was before. So I would say that that's probably going to be a bad deal for Martin Truex in winning this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard fix too, right?
Yeah, you can't.
I mean, it's a lengthy pit stop. If you were able to, possibly put some bear bond on that and seal that gap, you're going to lose a lot of spots that you're not going to be able to overcome. That's not good.
Well, they will have at least 1 more pit stop, Larry.
Bingo. You led me right there, Mike. I'm going to give you the one to watch. That's going to be, if this thing stays green, that's going to be the driver, the pit crew, the team that makes the right call, executes maybe what might be that green flag pit stop that will happen somewhere around lap 320 to 330. No mistakes, and maybe be the first one in there and get the jump with those fresh Goodyear tires.
Well, it's been where most of the passes have been made today. Denny Hamlin got this lead. Thank you, pit crew. He had to squeeze Bowman to get it done, but he got him out first. Now he's got that clean air, Kevin. This thing, it's exactly what these cars like. They like eating that clean air.
Yeah, we saw that pit crew do the exact same thing for him at Richmond to win that race. And when you give Denny Hamlin that lead, it's going to be hard to get it back. And he's put over 3 seconds on Kyle Larson.
Yeah, it woke that car up in a big way to exactly what you just said. As soon as he got that clean air, it took off.
Well, let's go back to today's Big Moves, sponsored by Pods, and you can decide who did it best. Denny Hamlin came out alongside the 48 and the 5. Boy, you know, the spotters were yelling from the roof on this one. Finally, Bowman gave way, and Hamlin getting off pit road first is what got him the lead.
Yeah, and you watch that back right there, and Chase Briscoe he gets into his box really hard because he can see those guys right on his bumper, and it was just a matter of inches from the front bumper of Denny Hamlin's car to Chase Briscoe's car. But you got to push. We've talked about it the whole race. These pit crew guys push, the drivers push, whether it's the pit road speed, the speed of the pit stop, whatever that is, it's right on the edge of disaster all the time.
And that pit stop for Denny Hamlin was the 3rd fastest 4-tire stop recorded in the entire Cup Series all season.
Wow.
Picked a great time to do it.
Good timing. Great timing.
But like you said, when they're that fast, they're this close on the edge of disaster. Got to push it. That's where these races are won and lost today's day and age. You said it, Richmond takes you right back to Richmond. Being able to beat his teammate Truex out of the pits. Went on to win that race. A little bit of controversy with the restart. Thank you, pit crew.
So you look on the scoring pylon at your top 8 drivers. 5 of them have not won a race this season. Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex all looking for their first win. So is our champion Ryan Blaney, and Ty Gibbs looking for his first win ever. Third fastest stop of the year. I'd say that rate's an attaboy and an introduction to Denny Hamlin's crew.
I'm AJ Rosini. I'm the front tire changer. Formerly an IndyCar tire changer for 2.5 years. Now I'm in the Cup Series with 7 wins.
Devin Euchre, rear tire changer. I started pitting cars at 18, and now I pit for the best driver in NASCAR.
My name is Dylan Dowell. I am the tire carrier. I am a former Cup champion, Xfinity champion, and Daytona 500 champion.
Joël Alexandre Balou-Boignon, Jackman, former Green Bay Packer running back. My first language was French.
Kenneth Purcell, fueler. 20 years on pit road with over 50 wins and 4-time consecutive champion with Jimmy Johnson.
Just love the varied backgrounds, how things come together here under crew chief Chris Gabehart, and Chris Lambert is the spotter up on the booth for him on the roof for Hamlin.
Chris Gabehart is just such a, I mean, he's the leader of this team, and the things that he says are always encouraging, to the point, and he's just he's one of the best crew chiefs that's ever come through this sport, Clint. I think he's the guy that put Denny Hamlin back on track to get the most out of him, and he's just one of those crew chiefs that comes along every once in a while that can just put all the pieces together.
Cool guy, good leader, always forward thinking, and you heard it right as soon as he got in that clean air. All right, clean air. Think about how your car's handling. Think about how to win this race.
$108 laps to go in Delaware in the Worth 400 at Dover. Closing in on 100 miles, 100 laps to go. Denny Hamlin 2.6 seconds out in front of Kyle Larson. Busch, Bowman, and Truex are the top 5. You know, it's been 9 years since we lost our great friend and colleague Steve Burns. Steve went to University of Maryland, always loved coming up here to Dover, was a great wingman, and he is today still very sorely missed by our entire NASCAR on Fox team. So let's dedicate this Dover, crank it up, to the memory of a great friend and colleague, Steve Burns.
8, back to the 54. All good. 9, 5 back, rolling the paint. 4 back, 3 back. You're good for the exit here. It'll get you on X3 on the bottom. Wounded, spin third. Next 2 in front, out of position. 6 is your slowest one. This one gets stuck behind 2 wide.
.95 laps to go as Denny does Dover. Hamlin with a 1.8-second lead on Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, and Alex Bowman. Now remember Corey LaJoie, who was on a long run strategy, stayed out when everybody stopped under green. He stayed out to lead 33 laps before finally pitting. It's going to work out okay. He is now in the free pass position. First car 1 lap down, and as long as Hamlin doesn't keep lapping Daniel Hemrick, Austin Cindric, and other cars at the tail end of the lead lap, LaJoie just might end up on the lead lap today.
Well, he's going to need a caution quick, Mike. Hemrick is right on the verge, a couple seconds from going a lap down, so needs something to happen quick.
Regan?
Well, Mike, a few laps ago, we showed the damage on the front of the 19 car as we were showing that the team was actively cutting strips of Farabon. Farabon, the tape, of course, that they used to seal that back up when they had an issue. Problem is, though, if this race continues to go green flag like it appears it's going to do right now, how do they take the time to get that on there? I don't know, but they do have it ready if they need to.
Truex has fallen 6 seconds from the lead in 4th place. There's Alex Bowman in 5th.
Yeah, and it's really hard as he gets later in this run. He's talked about his car being tight, and later in the run when the car actually gets tighter, that's when you wonder about the front tires falling off quicker than what they did.
Well, there's no question it's hurting him a little bit, but it's just a little.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
He's hanging in there pretty tough.
91 laps to go in the Worth 400. Denny Hamlin in his Joe Gibbs Toyota out front.
We need to figure something out, and I'm just frustrated, so let me vent. How to stop these rockers from catching on fire, because I just inhaled smoke for 50 laps. Yeah, 10 for it. I don't want you to beat yourself up over there. You're hauling the mail. You're doing real nice right there, so that's all I can ask you. It's a hornet's nest ahead. Stay aggressive here. Leaders are in a lot of junk. You're running them down.
A little bit of radio remix. 83 to go. Martin Truex comes to pit road. Corey LaJoie was just on pit road. Here's Regan.
Like you just mentioned, Martin Truex Jr. hitting pit road, earliest of the cars up front to do that. Kept telling the guys on the box that it is too tight as we see everybody coming to pit now. Jamie.
Kyle Larson made his pull in the pit road, led 35 laps earlier, came in from the 2nd spot. 4 tire stop here in fuel, Regan.
Denny Hamlin started this run off very good out front, and race car was neutral. As the run has been going on, though, it's been getting a little bit too free for him. They're looking for a good stop here to just keep him out front.
And Larson was able to close a lot of gap on the 11. The leader, Denny Hamlin, coming on the pit road, used him as a reference point, and passes him, leaving the pit box. There it is.
Well, that's exactly what we talked about, Clint. Where do you make up these positions? It happens on pit road, and Kyle Larson was able to get by Denny Hamlin.
So the cars that have not stopped: Bubba Wallace, Noah Gragson, Daniel Hemric. Everyone else on the lead lap has been in, or is in now, with 81 to go. No surprise Truex was the first to pit because he needed repair as well as fuel and tires.
Yeah, and I think he falls off a fair amount as well with the way that he has to drive that car. So Kyle Larson, that might be the new move of the race, but now you see him in front of Denny Hamlin. So this is going to be interesting to see if Denny can capitalize quick or if he's just going to fall into line.
Bubba Wallace is in and gives up the lead to Daniel Hemric. Noah Gragson also pitting.
That was
Hemric had a good qualifying effort. He started this race 14th.
You see how he used Denny Hamlin as a reference point, judges gap, and was able to close so much of that.
What he did right there, Clint, was stay on the racetrack. Yeah.
Yellow back straightaway, a lot of smoke back there.
Oh,
Ricky Stenhouse.
Freaking 4 ran over us on the way by.
That sounded to me like spotter Tad Boyd for Stenhouse.
That's a bummer.
322, 5th caution flag of the day.
Had such a strong run going in the top 10 all day long. Let's see here. Uh-oh. He was merging back on.
He just looked like he might have come up on the racetrack a little bit too quick. Yeah,
too soon.
Self-cleaning banking on the straightaway sends everything to the inside wall. And boy, we're going to have to sort the scoring out because here we were in the midst of green flag pit stops with a lot of cars one lap down.
My scoring showing the Hemric still in the lead, yet to pit.
Stenhouse drives away. So
yes,
we may have right this moment only 7 cars on the lead lap. That will change as drivers that just pitted will take waiver rounds as Hemric has to pit. He was last on pit road at lap 255. Hemric, Suarez, according to my sheet, are the only cars on the lead lap that have not yet pitted in this cycle.
Okay, you see all these cars in front of that 5 car. All these guys are going to be able to wave around here. Daniel Hemric staying out there. That was a huge gain for them. Somebody's mishap is somebody else's opportunity. That opportunity landed in Daniel Hemric's lap this time.
And that's why we were talking about the chance that Corey LaJoie was taking early in this race. This is exactly what would have happened if the caution had come out then. And now it's come out for Daniel Hemric to be able to put himself as one of those cars on the lead lap and get that caution at a timely point.
So Larry, most of these leaders only have 5 laps on their tires, and the cars that are in front of who will be the leader after Hemric pits, will they just all wave around?
Yeah, but they definitely will all wave around. If you're a lap down, absolutely. But you know what, Mike? If you're Alex Bowman, if you're Chase Elliott, you're Noah Gragson, you know, come get 4 tires, because remember, if you take the wave around, you have to start at the back. So why not come in and get adjustments and get some fresh tires, even though you've only got a lap or 2 on your tires that's on the car? Nothing to lose.
I'm coming, Larry. Like I want some tires to fire off on this restart. So I'm always biased towards 4 tires though. So
all right, Hemric has pitted. Most of the rest of these cars stay out. Jamie.
And Daniel Hemric had a good qualifying effort this weekend for this team. Started 14th. They stayed out there. Now they come down to pit road. Trent Owens on the call said 4 tires. You see the chassis adjustment. They said, hey, man, you actually look good leading up there. And they said it's a good thing. Regan.
Well, the 8 car, Kyle Busch, coming down pit road. You see it right here. He had already made his stop. It sounds like they had issues, though, getting fuel in the car. It may not be full of fuel, so they were forced right here to come back down.
A break for Ryan Blaney. He will be the first car 1 lap down at the time of caution, so he will get the free pass. Get back on the lead lap. 76 to go. We're under caution in Dover for the 5th time. We'll take a break and sort this all out for you when we come back.
And so what happens with these cars, the old car had a ramp up process that is pretty flat. right? So from a second standpoint, you know, you go from here to the end of the wreck. The slope of the impact is absorbed by the car like this. This car is absorbed like this. So basically, when you hit something now, it's like it happens so fast. So like in a whiplash situation, it happens a lot faster because a lot of that impact is going through your body because the whip is whipped faster. Is I guess one way to explain it.
Kevin Harvick breaks it all down for you on Happy Hour. New episodes every Tuesday and Thursday, presented by NASCAR on Fox.
Fun stuff.
Stenhouse's day is done.
It's not fun.
Nope.
That's too bad.
He will join Michael McDowell and Ryan Preece in the garage area.
Bill champion bull rider JB Mooney on the back of his helmet. Pretty cool nod to the old man. What a stud.
So after all the waiver rounds, 16 cars took waiver rounds, not all of them on the lead lap. We go from 10 to 20 cars on the lead lap now, and that includes the free pass car, Ryan Blaney. Chase Briscoe will be the first of 4 cars, along with Daniel Suarez, Corey LaJoie, John Hunter Nemechek, 1 lap down. Rest of the field down 2 laps or more.
On board with Brad Keselowski right here. He's had a tough day, and there is not a worse thing in the world to do than have to ride around at Dover, Clint, with your car torn up. My goodness, it's terrible.
He's making laps. I'm glad he is. As I said earlier, he's my ride home, Kevin.
Chase Briscoe in the 14, one of those 1 lap down cars, pitted too soon. Will restart at the tail end.
This is going to be big restart here. Who can outduel who? The launch. Whoever comes off of turn 2 with that lead, that's the most important thing.
72 to go.
The Xfinity race.
Kyle Larson, the leader, chose the outside. Denny Hamlin inside. Truex and Elliott, Gragson and Hemrick, Busch and Bowman, the first of 20 lead lap cars as they come off 4 for the green.
Good restart by Denny on that inside. That's hard to do. You have to time that. You have to look at this, Kevin. All but clear. I think he's going to clear him off of 2.
I think you're right, Clint.
Trouble off turn 2.
Big wreck.
Around goes Wallace. And 1 car hard into the inside wall with Bowman.
But that's Byron. That's William Byron, guys. Gets worse. Bell is torn up again. Big hit for that car.
Right, that was Christopher Bell, not Alex Bowman.
And the hits
was
just
tied
keep
up there.
coming for Christopher Bell.
Wow.
That's the 4th week in a row.
Well, we've seen that so many times off of turn 2.
See,
3
Bubba
wide.
Wallace on that outside. Is that Bowman? It got up into him, got loose.
Byron.
Excuse me, Byron. And so like you said, you see them get somebody got in the back of Bell, and here they come down the racetrack.
Yeah, somebody left-reared Bell trying to get down to the apron.
Yeah, for some reason, William Byron was way up the racetrack, or Bubba Wallace tried to go on the outside of William Byron. It's hard to tell exactly how they got to that position.
Look at them starting to stack up. Oh, he come right down in front of Byron.
Now, actually, that was not
That
Byron
wasn't
up top.
Byron, that's right.
It was someone else, another white car.
Is that Zane Smith? Yes, Zane Smith.
Looks like the 71 Zane Smith to the was up there on the outside and got into the back of Wallace, who goes straight to the garage, as does William Byron.
It's crazy how fast a day can unravel. That 24 car, running up front, having a great day early. Everything's going fine. One little mishap on pit road, and it just starts to unravel.
Spiral out of control.
Well, as we said earlier, it's a mulligan race for him. Once they had those troubles on pit road, took him out of contention. They've had a great start to the season. Just today wasn't their day.
Hey, and a new car back on point. Denny was able to get that pass done, and it's back assumed the lead. That was big for him. Now the decision time. Do you go back to the outside, Kevin, or you take that bottom?
Well, his car has taken off pretty good today. I mean, Larson's car hasn't been as good on the refire as Denny's has, so I think he can. I mean, based upon what just happened.
Look how those cars clean that rubber off the racetrack. That was a really good shot of just how it just vacuums the rubber right back off the racetrack under caution.
Yeah, and those hot tires just pick the rubber up off the racetrack, as you see Bubba Wallace
bummed,
either bummed out or a little dinged up. I think he's bummed out.
Well, isn't that really the choke point on this racetrack, trying to come up and off of turn 2,
especially on restarts? I mean, it's inevitable. About every race, something happens over off of 2 on a restart.
And in all honesty, we're lucky that wreck wasn't bigger than it actually was. I mean, we've seen some of those wrecks just wipe everybody that was behind the wreck out.
Well, it's because if it would have started at the front of the pack, it would have.
Yeah. And as these restarts go, these restarts are going to get more and more intense, and good possibility that might happen again.
Christopher Bell's car under serious repair. Let's have a look at his onboard here.
He got ran over from behind.
Yeah, you could hear the rear brakes locking up right there as he was trying to slow down. You could hear the clanking of the back of the car. The back tires locking up.
So Wallace was 11th at the time of the crash. Bell on the inside was 16th. Byron was 18th. And they got caught up in it.
Bubba he was just starting to have a great day. Got into the top 10. I mean, how many times have we
Wait a second.
The Byron fans are not waiting for the encore.
Well, those are dedicated hardcore fans. My guy's out, I'm out. I'm leaving.
Well, there's no reason to stay. I get it.
Yeah.
Fans are loyal. I've done that at a Chiefs game. That's the only thing I'm a fan of. If we're getting beat, we're headed to the house. Tail between our legs. Regroup, come back next week. That's a lot of good cars. That car right there, that Hungry Jack 47. Boy was doing a good job. Overachieving today with the top 10 run all day long. Clean pit stops.
You see Christopher Bell get out of his car. They've decided to retire that car for the day. I felt like Christopher Bell had a good car. I mean, he worked his way through the field a couple times. He was okay.
Started the weekend off not so good.
Yeah.
Had trouble yesterday. Dug themselves a hole and just, as you said, had a good car. Was able to pass cars, but just couldn't get out of the hole. Got collected in because of it. Wow, what a change of events.
And now you got to do these restarts, and you got to do them on hot tires, and you see all that rubber being picked up off the racetrack. You got to do a good job of cleaning your tires and making sure that you have them as clean as possible so that car will refire. Denny Hamlin did a great job of that last time on used tires.
So Christopher Bell joins William Byron and Bubba Wallace out of race in this crash at lap 330. Looks like we're going to have some new faces in the top 10 this week. Best finish of the season 2 weeks ago at Texas were these 5 drivers. And last week at Talladega, 6 drivers got their best finish of the season. 33 different drivers have finished in the top 10. That's the most through 10 races in more than a decade. With Daniel Hamrick up there and a few others like Allmendinger kind of lurking there, might add a few to that list.
Noah Gragson in the 10 car was able to capitalize on all that change of events on pit road. He's had a good day.
2 weeks in a row.
Staying
quietly.
Yeah.
Third at Talladega, and what I think Ford was about 600 feet from having a 1-2-3 finish, and he still ended up third.
Well, Noah's done a great job. He and Drew Blickensderfer have done a great job of just being consistent, just clicking away, grinding away at putting themselves in a position to get a top 10, put themselves in position to run in the top 5 at the end of last week's race and have a chance to win that race if it just plays out his way. You got to be around in order to and in position to win these races because you just never know how the end of these things are going to play out. As you just saw, that wreck that just happened could happen on the first row if those cars are side by side. So you just got to keep grinding away.
Two quick cautions in succession at laps 322 and 330 here. And now the pits have opened up. We'll see if there's any takers. Daniel Suarez is going to be the first car one lap down in the free pass position with LaJoie, Nemechek, and Briscoe all one lap down. That takes her back to 21st place. Everyone else 2 or more laps down as Wallace, Byron, and Bell join McDowell and Preece in the garage. We'll take a quick break with 66 laps to go in Dover.
It's race day in Charlotte for the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. And for the second straight race, they'll be racing 4 wide. Coming up next after the Cup race, stay tuned for 44,000 horsepower of fun right here on FS1.
They're going to come to the choose with 63 to go. Denny Hamlin the leader, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, Noah Gragson, Chase Elliott, top 5. And 18 lead lap cars, including Daniel Suarez, who got the free pass on this caution flag. Regan?
Well, Chris Gabehart, crew chief for Denny Hamlin, you guys have done a nice job all day long. Seems like it's been a very tactical day for you guys. You got him back up front again now. Can he hold it for the rest of the race?
Yeah, what race isn't tactical anymore? You tell me which one it is, I'll show up. They're all so hard to win. It's crazy. It's third race at Dover, and we were so dominant the first one, and now you just got to have everything go right. But we finally got back to the front and stretched our legs, show what our car can do, and pit crew's been, that was loud. Pit crew's been doing a good job all day. We just got to close it out.
All right, thanks, Chris.
All right, Purdue grad Chris Gabehart on the box for Denny Hamlin.
So true, though. Every single race is tactical, and those guys, they'll if they win this race, they'll go to victory lane, and the next thing you know, they'll be walking out and talking about what they're going to do next week.
Ready for the restart. 62 laps to race.
We chose the outside. Saw that.
Green flag.
A good shot by Larson now on the inside. That's hard to do. He's going to get clear of him, but
Chastain's been 3 wide on every restart, and passing cars doing it. There he goes.
I think he's going to lose another spot to Truex. Look at this, 3 wide.
10th place here.
These boys are going for it now. Big restart, excuse me, for Chastain. 3 spots gained already, lap 1.
Yeah, and that's been where he's picked up the positions all day. So you know, Gragson up on the outside right there of Chase Elliott, fighting to keep the 4th position.
Be a huge top 5 for Noah Gragson.
Behind them, Blaney on the bottom, getting past Hemrick. Double wide, pretty good way through the field here.
Now you got Kyle Busch right behind them, just grinding it out. Just like you were saying earlier, Kevin. Not the best of cars, not exactly happy, but done a great job of making no mistakes and getting the most out of the day so far.
Yeah, and the car's never going to be right here. It's never going to feel great. It's always going to be up on top of the racetrack, bouncing around. You're going to go through sections of the race where it doesn't handle good, but that's going to be the way for the whole field. And you just have to be mentally strong enough to sit in that seat and grind away.
And let's go to the garage area. Jamie.
William Byron has been checked and released. Started this race third, was running up front, and now it's over. Your first DNF of the season. What happened?
Yeah, just it sucks. You know, we it looked like the 23 got sideways or got hit in the left rear and came across the racetrack, and we were there. So that just sucks. Once we had the issue there on pit road, you know, we were just super tight back in traffic, couldn't pass, and that was the end of it. So just hate that for our team, and wish we could have gotten through traffic better. Just kind of ruined our day once we got back there. Thank you.
Larson will fall to 6th in the NASCAR Cup point standings, leaving Dover. Ty Gibbs knocking on the door of the top 10 here. And let's go back to Jamie.
We talked about Bubba Wallace before the start of the race about that beautiful paint scheme, the Air Force on board, and you're working your way almost in the top 10, and now you're out. What happened?
I don't know. I can all just sit here and you have the long ride over here on a golf cart to figure out what you want to say. And I guess turning 30, gonna be a dad, you got to be more mature. So just a bummer. Hate it for our Xfinity US Air Force Toyota. Just not the result we needed. Back-to-back DNS. Man, Booty said it perfect Monday. When I was pissed off and frustrated after Talladega, he says, hey, we're gonna have to grind our ass off for Dover, from practice to qualifying to the race, and it's not gonna be pretty. And I don't think he meant that part. You know, the wrecking out wasn't gonna be pretty, but we had to grind, and proud of the effort we put in every week. Just unfortunate, no results to show for it. But we'll just go on to Kansas, where hopefully we're not around any squirrels and go kick their ass.
You know what happens when you hang out with the squirrels?
Yes.
I won't say it. Todd Parrott did on national TV once. The problem for Bubba is he is 15th in the point standings, and he is just 6 ahead of the cut line as we look ahead to the NASCAR playoffs.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. You stack up 2 bad weekends in a row, you can get off underneath of you in a hurry.
Yeah, and look, you know, Bubba has run well, and I think a little bit of what he's saying about Kansas, they expect to go there and have a chance to win the race. That's just been the case over the last several years. They've had decent cars, and you know, felt like he was, you know, trying to say that he was around. He didn't feel like he needed to be around the 71 car right there on the restart. So it's tough when those bad finishes start to stack up like that, and you're just having some bad luck. But like Booty told him, you have to grind away. You have to be able to just put it beside you and go on to the next one.
Well, and here's his 2311 teammate Tyler Reddick. 2311 has won 3 of the last 4 races at Kansas. Something to look forward to for Bubba Wallace. 50 to go, and then it's over and over. Denny Hamlin leading Kyle Larson by 1.4 seconds as we go Fox side by side.
There's a little bit of the county fair atmosphere at a stock car race.
Don't miss NASCAR's biggest stars when they light up historic North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's the NASCAR All-Star Race, May 17th through the 19th. Champions like Larson, Elliott, Busch, and Blaney battle it out for All-Star supremacy on one of NASCAR's original tracks. Experience live music, racing history, and the kind of fun you can only have at North Wilkesboro. The NASCAR All-Star Race. Get your tickets today at NorthWilkesboroSpeedway.com.
The Busch Guide, cold and smooth survival skills.
Hello? Should you become stranded, be ready to signal rescuers.
Busch.
How long have I been out here? About 12 minutes.
Head for the mountains.
I love your dress.
Oh, thanks. I splurged a little because Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance and I saved hundreds.
That's great.
I know, right? I've been telling everyone.
Liberty.
Did you hear that? Ty just said her first word. Can you say mama?
Liberty. Can you say auntie?
Liberty.
How many people did you tell?
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Liberty.
Football League, Saturday at 3 Eastern on Fox.
What does it take to become a legend? Maybe it's simply knowing that new legacies are built one lap at a time.
NASCAR's one stop a year at the Monster Mile. 43 laps to go in Dover, Delaware. For the Worth 400, Denny Hamlin leading Kyle Larson by a little over a second. We still have 18 cars on the lead lap with Martin Truex third and Noah Gragson coming off a third at Talladega, right there in the top 5. Jamie?
And then he comes here to Dover, qualifies 5th, his best career start. And I talked to him for a little bit this morning, and he said, you know, realistically, we're a 12th to 15th place team. If we can run better than that, that's like a win for us. Well, look at this. Mike, yesterday in practice, he said, you know, we are so good on the long run. I think we can run with the fastest cars. He wasn't kidding. He could bring home another top 5 in a row here.
Sure could. He's got Kyle Busch behind him in 5th. By a couple of car lengths, and then it's more than a second back to Chase Elliott in 6th right now.
Well, whether he finishes 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, I mean, they finished somewhere in there. They've had a great day. And oh, you see Kyle Busch in the wall right there.
Second time today.
Yeah. But back to Noah, it is pretty impressive what they've been able to do to make this 10-car run like it has run and get the finishes. Yep. That's the most important thing, getting the finishes for where you run and overachieving.
All right, Kyle Larson is picking up about a tenth of a second a lap on Denny Hamlin. That gap narrowing a bit, while Martin Truex in 3rd, 2 seconds back. Wow, you listen to his radio, and you know it's been quite a day for the 19.
All right, guys, have us an awesome day today. I've done it here a bunch of times. Let's go get them again.
Quickest car on track there. Really good rhythm here. You're clear. All right, coming to it here. Make sure you got tool switches where you need. Starts on you. Slowly stretching here. Really good lap there.
Got all stacked up. Got my hood, I think.
Definitely got some decent damage.
Drew Herring, the spotter. James Small, the crew chief, you heard there. And the defending champion of this race trying to tough it out.
I can't believe it's running as good as it's running. I know you're getting ready to point out everything is beat up on it, Clint, but it is. I would have thought it would have been lights out and losing positions, but he's maintained.
Look at the gap in the hood too. And like he was saying, that's what he can actually see from the driver's seat. But you can see, and Kevin, you pointed it out earlier, where those louvers are in the hood. You see those gaps up there. That thing is definitely messed up and pushed back.
Well, this time by, he was the fastest car on the racetrack by a couple of hundred.
I can't believe it, Mike, because usually when that nose and that splitter get separated like that, the car gets way tighter, and he has maintained his track position. Now, maybe he would have been the dominant car if he didn't have the damage, but he's done way better than I thought.
Regardless, it shows the strength of the car, right? I mean, it's definitely not 100%.
And the last 3 laps, he's been quicker than his teammate Denny Hamlin, who's leading.
I think Denny, and I heard you start to allude to it a little bit, Larson catching Denny. I think Denny's managing the lead here.
He is. I agree, Clint. He was. He got it down to 0.8 of a second. Now it's widened back out to almost a second and a half.
KG veteran. That guy in the box is helping him manage that too.
Boy, look at Ty Gibbs. He's been fighting for the last 20 laps to get back into the top 10, but to do it, he's got to get past Ross Chastain.
Chastain's day has turned around, obviously back into the top 10 here. We're accustomed to seeing him, but he was definitely one that capitalized on that unfortunate caution there with wrecked a couple cars that were in front of him.
Yeah, you see that gap in front of Kyle Larson stayed pretty consistent the last several laps. But they're going to catch traffic, and that's really going to be the telltale sign of who can get through there the best and whether he actually is able to make some ground on Denny Hamlin as he's going through traffic.
Well, if there is an opportunity, that's where it's going to be. As he catches lap traffic. By the way, those racing for their positions as well, racing to stay on the lead lap. They race that leader harder than they do the second place car. That's how you catch them.
Hamlin and Larson's lap times, one versus the other, have only been a couple of hundredths apart these last few laps. Even with 32 to go, Larson's going to have to turn up the wick if he's going to run down the leader.
And that could happen. It's just a matter of how these cars fall off, and whose right front tire or right rear tire gives up first, and how much does it give up. So we've seen Larson be pretty versatile. Denny's been on the bottom of the racetrack and really hasn't left the bottom of the racetrack this whole run for sure.
.30 laps to go in Dover. In case you missed it, it's been an exciting day. Kyle Busch took off from the pole at 33 laps, while Ryan Preece's foam in the right side of his car, the protective foam, burned up and sent him to the garage early. William Byron's car on a pit stop. Down goes the jack. Pick it back up, boys. So on can go the tire. 24-second pit stop. 3 wide at the end of pit road. Denny Hamlin gets out first as Alex Bowman wisely gives way for that moment. 4 cars pile up on lap 329 as Zane Smith gets in the back of Bubba Wallace, and they collect Christopher Bell and William Byron. So Wallace, Byron, Bell out of the race, joining Stenhouse, who had a single car crash. McDowell with mechanical issues, and Preece all in the garage area. 18 cars on the lead lap.
This
Back
is the
to
big
Suarez, and yeah, go ahead,
Mike. This is the big winner of the day for me. Was able to capitalize on that. They were out on the racetrack, hadn't pitted yet, Kevin, and went from 22nd to 8th, holding strong and steady in top 10. This would be a huge day for them if they can round this out.
Yeah, they've had a great day, and that's why you want to try to make that strategy, and when it works out, you try to capitalize on it. And Daniel Hemrick and his team have been able to do that. And the car behind him might have been in big trouble if I was in charge of the crew chief today, because 48 pitted for those tires, and he hasn't made up near the ground that I thought he would on the restarts. I thought he might be able to make up ground, but he just kind of sat there.
It's a track position game today. I mean, we just said it with that 31 of Hemrick. I mean, he's able to, because of good fortune, capitalize on some track position and hasn't lost one spot.
I agree with you. Hemrick's the big story of the day. A lot of fellows that picked the fantasy pools said he had nowhere to go but down after starting 14th, and no, Hemrick's had a great day. He is up 6 from where he started.
I like that little dig to the stat guy Russell over in the corner. Good on you, Mike.
It's a good place for the stat guys, in the corner. Behind the screen. Except for that glare off his head.
Fantasy, jealousy. Yeah, it's one of those days. 24 to go for Hamlin. And that time he was 8/100ths slower than Kyle Larson. Brings the gap down to 0.8 seconds. That's the closest it's been.
Look at the lap
last
traffic.
20 laps.
It's that lap traffic you spoke of, Kevin. See him starting to catch more.
Yeah, and Denny Hamlin started to have to move around the racetrack to be able to start to navigate this lap traffic and go where they're not. And Kyle Larson's now on the bottom of the racetrack making up ground. And this is really the time in the run where you start to see the lap time start to shave some of that time, give some of that time away from the speed. We were talking about low 24s. Now we're in traffic and we're running 24 4s, 24 3s.
Well, when the leader comes to lap you, you're going to fight him hard because you want to stay on the lead lap. When the second guy comes up to lap you, you're going to give him a little room because what the heck?
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's over at that point.
And that's always been the frustrating thing about being in the lead. You know, as you catch that traffic, like, man, he just raced me so hard for 3 or 4 laps, held me up. Second place was catching me, they let him go.
Yeah, and so far the lap cars that Denny has come up to lap have been up the racetrack, and obviously we think he prefers the bottom of the racetrack with the way that he's ran the whole time, but definitely down to 6-7 tenths of a second from first to second.
Another couple tenths, you're right.
And now those are those chunks of times that I was talking about earlier. Lose me the least amount of time in traffic. Lose me the least amount of time when our car is not good. So he's been losing these chunks of time by the way that the traffic has worked out for him. Even though he has that clean air on the bottom of the racetrack, it's not clean air when there's a car in front of you, whether it's in the low line or the high line.
And now he's coming up on Daniel Suarez, who is a lead lap car.
Yeah, so that you know, the last two cars have been multiple laps down of Corey Heim and Harrison Burton. Now he's caught a lap car of Daniel Suarez that is on the lead lap, trying to stay on the lead lap. So you never know when the caution is going to come out. So it'll be interesting to see what Daniel does.
Suarez usually quite respectful in these situations.
Yeah, you can't be. Even,
well,
I mean, respect's one thing,
relatively,
but it's desperation now. Sorry, I'm racing too, and I'm racing for position. He's going to try to take that air away, take the line away that he wanted to be on. He caught me on the bottom, Spotter. Where'd he catch me?
I gave him the top right there. Denny went to the top of the racetrack, and he gave him the top of the racetrack. So,
and look at the gap. Slowing Denny down for sure.
And Larson closes inside of 0.6 of a second.
Well, this is what we talk about with Kyle Larson when it starts to be moving around for lap traffic and trying to make decisions through lap traffic or passing cars or whatever that is. He has this unique ability to be able to know where to go and make up time.
And look at what happened there with Suarez. He did not fight Larson at all. Was it because Larson was the second place car? Might it be that Hamlin's in a Toyota and Larson, like Suarez, is in a Chevrolet?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Toyota Chevrolet thing, that is real.
Yep. Larry Mack?
Well, Mike, I've got to be honest. My trends in 2024, they've been about as spot on as our stat guys telling you who's going to run well at different racetracks. So not doing a whole lot this year. But in the two Dover races with the Gen 7 car, 2022 and 23, the average of the last caution, lap 394, 6 to go. We've not had an overtime in those races, but remember, we've kind of had an outbreak of overtimes this year over the last 3 or 4 races with the exception of Talladega.
Well, you did pretty well call it last week. 13 to go.
Oh, reel them in, baby. I love it.
All right.
You know those guys, Clint.
Half a second.
I think.
Did you see them on your run this morning?
Well, no, they weren't up. Oh. I'd say they're probably not going to be up very early tomorrow either. Reeling them in. Look at this.
Yep. Wednesday begins Kyle Larson's month of May, doing the Indy Charlotte double Memorial Day weekend, the All-Star race with Indy activity that weekend. Kevin Harvick's going to practice the number 5 for Kyle at North Wilkesboro. That'll be fun for all of us to watch. But right now, Kyle Larson's entire focus is on the back bumper of that number 11.
Larson is getting close enough now. He's going to get him in his mirror. He's going to get him looking. Larson has already moved around, found some speed up high. Look, clear up, change his line way up on the outside, creates some energy, some momentum on the exits of these corners is what that does. That'll get Denny in his mirror and changing lines. By the way, when you do change it up and move up there, it takes a lap or two to figure it out.
Look right here, Clint. Denny moved up. Exactly what you're talking about. Denny moved up the racetrack to try to air block him and kind of wound up in no man's land there in the middle of the racetrack.
It takes a second to get it figured out.
I don't think there's anybody better in this sport at finding a different line that works better, quicker than Kyle Larson.
It's his background. That's where it came from. He races dirt. Whether it's a late model, he's been in a late model this week already. A sprint car kind of jumped the cushion there, lost some speed on the exit. This Denny Hamlin fan's nervous. He's plugged into, well, his what is that? Kyle Busch fan he's plugged into. How does that work out?
Well, he might be listening to you.
Oh, Denny Hamlin was really close to getting in an outside wall right there off of 2.
Larry tells us that Larson, though, is able to pick the throttle up sooner on the exit of the corner and stay in it.
That's what the stopwatch is showing too.
Coach Gibbs on the lookout. Will he go to victory lane, or will it be Hendrick Motorsports or somebody else?
Well, it's going to get dicey because there's 4 more lap cars right in front of them.
Yeah, a lot of lap traffic ahead here. Most of them are staying on the top out of the way. Winding down, 7 to go.
Well, this is what you don't want if you're Denny Hamlin. 1 low and 1 high.
So the next car is Justin Haley ahead. He's in a Ford. Doesn't have anything to do with this Toyota Chevrolet battle for the lead. And Haley takes it up high. Remember last year at Kansas between these two in the spring race?
Oh, man.
Youch.
I would definitely want to settle that score. I don't know about you, Clint.
I remember calling that race, and
he's there.
Forget that race. How about this race? We don't need to talk about Kansas. It's on at Dover. Denny slipped up again right there in the middle. Got him looking in the mirror. He's trying to figure this outside lineup.
Yeah, and
Denny's in trouble.
He's not going to figure it out in the middle of the racetrack.
This race, we don't need to talk about Kansas. It's on at Dover. Denny slipped up again right there in the middle. Got him looking in the mirror. He's trying to figure this outside lineup.
Yeah, and
Denny's in trouble.
He's not going to figure it out in the middle of the racetrack.
Now the next car ahead is Carson Hocevar. He's in a Camaro. Will he give Hamlin a hard time?
This is where Denny was moving up the racetrack. See, he took the line away. That hurt Kyle bad right there. Kyle had to move down. That was a good move by Denny. Gave him some breathing room. But this is turn 1 and 2. Kyle's ability to run way up high. Look at the entry speed that he carried. Caught it all back up right there in 1 and 2. Here he comes.
Next car ahead, Corey LaJoie in a Chevrolet.
Yeah, and I feel like Denny Hamlin, he's just gone into defensive mode, just trying to put his car in front of Kyle Larson's. But I don't know that.
He hurts him bad down here in 3 and 4. Now Denny's able to get around. That's LaJoie, excuse me.
And he
but
gave
he's
both
struggling
leaders.
down in 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is Larson's corner. 3 and 4, Denny's able to capitalize, get it back.
LaJoie gave both leaders plenty of room.
Yeah, the guessing game right there is, okay, I'm going to go in the corner, and Larson thinks I'm going to go high, and then I stay in the middle, and then as he fades to the top, you try to keep your car in front of him. We call that an air block.
This is where
he's there.
2 to go.
Got his car rotated off the top of the corner right there.
Made a quick pass.
John Hunter Nemechek nicely gave way in his Toyota.
Yeah, and it's a guessing game. I don't like that middle of the race.
I was exactly going to say the same thing. Here he comes. 1 to go.
1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Clean track ahead. Denny will probably go back down to the bottom. No, stays high to block. Taking that air away from Kyle Larson. Did a good job with it there.
But Larson's closing. Larson got the drive off the corner. He's got it down to 2 car lengths. Final corner. Larson up high. Hamlin right in the middle of the racetrack takes the air off Larson's nose and wins the Worth 400. 54th career win for Denny Hamlin, tying Lee Petty for 12th on the all-time list.
Great job, Chris.
It's a heck of a race for the end there. Reddick and Chastain. Reddick passed him off of 4. Great day for Noah Gragson, 6th place finish. Kyle Busch comes back for 4th. Chase Elliott top 5. That's big.
Great day for Daniel Hemrick.
Big
top 10.
day. Huge day for Daniel Hemrick.
And for Denny Hamlin, 3 wins this season, tying him with William Byron for the most victories this year.
Have to shut it down. Kiss the wall there, Kev.
Yeah, it's really hard to do a burnout right here because of all the banking on the front straightaway. So
212th career win for Coach Joe Gibbs, and 4th of the season. And it's his 11th triumph at Dover.
Well, his pit crew put him in position, and when they got that track position and got out front, that car was fast.
Come on, this will be your 55th time, technically.
55 wins.
Hey, come on, you ever done one of those before? Tearing up my race car, doing a burnout. That's funny.
So Denny conquers the concrete, a winner at Bristol and a winner at Dover. Officially, Kyle Larson finished a quarter of a second behind. And Larson will leave here with the NASCAR Cup points lead. 15 ahead of Martin Truex, with Hamlin now fourth. Sounded like he burned it down pretty well.
Called a shot this week, boys. Said he was going to win at Dover. Just went and did it. Hell of a crowd today. Beautiful day. Can't say enough about our fans. See the second attempt at this burnout, Kev. If he redeems himself.
He's going to have to go to the Mavis tire shop and get some more tires when he's done, Clint.
That's a pretty good plug there, Kev.
I mean, it says it right on the side of his car.
You're getting better at this. Heck yeah, you got it figured out.
Well, Mike, I'm interested to hear him get out of the car. You said there was more cheers than boos, so
yes.
We're going to find out right now.
Chesterfield, Virginia's Denny Hamlin, 54 wins in 661 career starts. Kyle Larson is the bridesmaid.
Good day for him, all the way up from 21st.
It's so close. Regan Smith.
Well, Denny Hamlin for the second time at Dover. We'll let Denny go grab the checkered flag. Second time at Dover, Denny, you come home victorious. End of the race. You're having to deal with lap traffic, a hard charge and Kyle Larson behind you. How did you manage all that?
Just a great team. This whole Mavis Tires and Brakes team just did a great job. All the guys on the wall right here, we're the ones that make it happen. So thank you to them, Chris Gabehart, Lambert, the whole team for just giving me great cars. Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, Shady Rays, Coca-Cola, the Jordan brand. Man, just great partnership with all, and just, man, I love winning.
You managed to win the race off pit road at the end of stage 2 there. Was that the key moment that allowed you to really flex the muscle with this 11 car?
I think the key moment really was, you know, Kyle did a great job executing on that green flag restart, or the green flag pit cycle, and then we were able to get the lead there on that restart, which allowed us, with the caution, to control the restart. So that was the key moment for us, and man, certainly feels good winning here at Dover.
You tied Lee Petty for 12th most on the all-time list today. What's that mean to you?
It's just fantastic. I mean, I couldn't hold Lee Petty's helmet, but you know, I've been blessed with a great race team. This whole FedEx team, Mavis team, Sport Clips, everyone that supports this 11 car, just they're the ones that make it happen. I just get the lucky. I'm the lucky one who gets to drive it.
Denny Hamlin, your winner in Dover.
Say 50-50, Kevin.
And Kyle Larson brings it home second. You just heard Denny loves to win. It was a good battle between you two, especially the last 10 laps there, Kyle. But anything you could have done differently with your race car?
Not in the last 10, but just losing the lead on, you know, when I got to restart as a leader. I went late in the zone, and Martin was trying to time it behind me, and he hit me right when I wanted to go, and it just like screwed up, and I got a lot of wheel spin, and he was out, you know, able to kind of outrace me into one, and his car was really good on, you know, short runs, and I could pace it and you know, get closer to him at the end of the runs, but it's just so easy to air block. Not that he was, you know, doing anything dirty or anything like that. It's just, it's so easy as the leader, especially a place like this, to just shut off the air on the guys behind you. And I knew when I got within 3 car lengths, he was going to start, you know, moving around, and I just couldn't really do anything. I was trying all sorts of different angles and speeds and all that, and nothing could, you know, generate enough speed to get, you know, close enough, I guess, to do anything. So that was a bummer, but a great day, you know, for our HendrickCars.com Chevy team. You know, started 21st, drove up to 6th in the first stage, or 5th, and then got a stage win, another stage win, so that was good. Good points day, but we would have loved to get a win, but always fast here at Dover. Just need to be a little bit better on the restarts. I've lost a lot of races on restarts here, so just keep trying to get better.
Well done. Kyle Larson brings it home second.
Denny Hamlin's Toyota beats Kyle Larson's Chevrolet by 1/4 of a second. Defending winner of this race, Martin Truex third, pole sitter Kyle Busch fourth, and Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 in the Worth 400 at Dover. We'll hear from the Charlotte studio after this.
We started the day asking which driver would be able to tame Miles the Monster, and after 400 miles, Denny Hamlin dominant at Dover. Yes, getting his 54th career win, leading 136 laps on his way to that victory. His 3rd this season, his 2nd at Dover. Hi, everyone. Shannon, Larry, and Jamie for a little post-race coverage from Dover. So what do you make of the day that Denny had?
Well, I saw 3 defining moments. Obviously, his pit crew at the end of stage 2 when they got him from 3rd to 1st and got the lead. But then the green flag pit stops at lap 318 where Larson took back control, but Denny was so good on that final restart, got the lead. Almost looked back, but never did look back.
Yeah, both of those guys talked about the moment of the race was the restart where Denny got the lead. You could tell that Kyle Larson was pretty dejected about losing the lead that way. But it's been really fun for me to watch Hamlin and Larson. They've kind of become this rivalry. We showed the moment they had at Kansas where we're heading next week and the altercation they had there. These two seem to find themselves at the front a lot, and it was fun to watch it again today.
Yeah, we really thought there was going to be a closer battle maybe for that.
Just needed a few more laps.
Just a few more laps. Let's check in with the 3rd place finisher. That would be Martin Truex Jr. He's with Regan Smith.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. comes home in 3rd place. At one point during the day, looked like you had the dominant car, but then we saw the damage to the nose. Was that the difference at the end?
I mean, at the end, yeah. You know, in the middle of the race, losing the lead was the difference maker. You know, I just lost the lead to the 5 there, and once I got close to him and tried to start moving around, I got a little too tight, and he was backing up, and just didn't quite have what I needed to get by him, and then they all pounced on us, and we lost control of the race, and then I got the nose damage. So it was just, I feel like we let one get away today. Just had a really strong Bass Pro Camry. Just you can't lose control of these races mid-stage like that because the track changes and you get behind, and man, it just stinks. But you know, overall a good day, and just keep working on it.
Thanks, Martin.
Of course, Martin's brother Ryan won the Xfinity Series race.
We thought we might get it again.
We did, and Martin has won 4 times at Dover, but as you just said, just lost control of the race. He's been so close so many times this season.
He has, and if you go back to Bristol where Denny Hamlin actually won, Truex runs 2nd. But this has just been such a good track for him, and he didn't qualify well this weekend, but we knew he had a good car based on what we saw in practice. And at one point, and Regan mentioned this, it looked like he maybe had control of the race, but that cycle of green flag pit stops, and obviously Larson was able to get by him. But I know he's upset, dejected. I think when he sees the damage on his front of his car, he'll feel just a little bit better about that.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised to see the lap times he was able to lay down with that much damage, because that's obviously one of the most sensitive parts of the race car. But I just think about the 19 and Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole. 3 consecutive races, no driver finished inside the top 10. They put 2 inside the top 5, 3 inside the top 10. It's been rough sledding the last 2 or 3 weeks for Joe Gibbs.
I think the guy sitting down there at the end picked Denny Hamlin to win this race and said that you thought Martin was going to run well because of the fact that it was, you know, the track would change and it was a veteran driver and all that stuff.
I think you got to give some credit to Denny. He kind of called a shot here.
He did.
You know, I mean, he said earlier this week on his podcast that he was going to be able to win. Thought these next few tracks, Kansas obviously being one, he knew that the 11 car was going to run well at. And listen, he had to work for this. If you look at that post-race interview on the front stretch, he's trying to keep it together. He was exhausted. You could tell in his voice.
Yeah, 4th and 5th place finish. We got Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott. Let's hear from Kyle Busch first with Regan Smith.
Well, Kyle Busch starts on the pole today, finishes 4th. I know there was a lot in the middle there that took place, but nonetheless a good day for the 8 car.
Yeah, good day for the 8 car. Good solid points day, I guess. You know, that's a normal day. I'd love to have a lot more normal days. We just can't seem to get any, but you know, proud of everybody on the on this FICO Chevrolet. The car was pretty decent. I felt like if we came off a pit road there at the end, just run me over. Okay, it's cool. You know, with the clean racetrack, the way that it was, and being able to just charge forward, try to catch those leaders, that was probably going to be our best bet to try to run them down and race with them. But definitely had a 3rd place car today, so you know, having to come from 8th to 4th on that final run right there was really, really tough. But that was about all we had.
Thanks, Kyle.
How about that? Chase Elliott starts back in 29th. You end up with the top 5 out of it. I know it's not easy to pass, but you guys worked it out. How good was that race car? I know Alan was pretty optimistic this morning.
Yeah, I felt like our car drove really good yesterday, just qualified terrible. So it was nice that when the race started, I had that feel that we had in practice yesterday, and it was solid. Needed a little bit on the front side of a run. But other than that, I thought our Napa Chevy was pretty good, and had a lot of comfort. And I haven't passed that many cars in one day in a while, so that was fun. And yeah, just nice to be up in the mix. I mean, obviously, you know, Denny and Kyle and those guys are really good. I never got quite to their row, but thought we were really competitive otherwise. So yeah, enjoyed the day. It was a lot of fun.
Ooh, fun at Dover. Get a good finish and fun at Dover.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you have to. You don't see much positive talk out of Chase Elliott.
Right.
And, you know, obviously the win at Texas was huge, but I think the confidence he has based on how Texas went, and then listening to him right there talk about that they didn't think they were good in practice, and then they got their car better for the race. That's what you want every single week. He seemed pretty optimistic right there.
Yeah, and you go back to Kyle Busch, who sat on the pole. This might be the first race since Atlanta that they didn't have something happen. It was just kind of a non-eventful race. They didn't have a pit road mistake. They didn't have a penalty, and just kind of a solid day. He did complain about his car quite a bit. Randall Burnett, the crew chief, he had to make a lot of adjustments to that 8 car, but at the end of the day, they ended up with a top 5, the first one since that 3rd place finish at Atlanta.
We documented him when we spoke right before stage 3, how he had a pretty consistent day, obviously starting on pole, but a good shot in the arm for that team.
I think that, I mean, that was typical Kyle Busch, like a little disappointed to finish in the top 5, but like Larry said, they just had a solid day, so it was good for them.
Yeah, a guy who must be pretty happy, back-to-back top 10 finishes, Noah Gragson. He's with Jamie Little.
Well, Noah Gragson comes off his best career finish last week. You told me we're like a 12th to 15th place team, so if we run better than that, it's great. You brought it home 6th at Dover. What does this mean to you and the 10 team?
Well, it's definitely a good finish. We kind of got lucky with that last green flag pit cycle, getting the caution coming out when we were on pit road, and cycled a few spots forward, but this Miller Tech team doesn't give up. There's no quit in this 10 team, and extremely thankful and grateful to be a part of it. And I appreciate all the work by all you guys back at the shop at Stewart-Haas. It's nice to come home 6th on a place where I really struggle. This is probably my worst track this year or last year, so to be able to come back and finish 6th after qualifying 5th, and it was an up and down road, but extremely thankful to this 10 team, and appreciate all you fans. Had a good time. We're excited for Kansas.
Well, Ryan Blaney comes home 7th place today. Ryan, another one of the cars that got some damage to the nose. I know that affected the day a little bit, but nonetheless a decent result.
Yeah, I don't know if it affected us too much. I'm not quite sure. I still thought we would have run. We kind of had like 4th to 7th place potential all day. So proud of the effort by everybody on this 12 group for sticking with it. Really wanted to win one for Worth. You know, big race for those guys. They're a great partner for us, and just missed out. So hopefully we can get a redemption shot next year if they do this again. But you know, I appreciate the effort all day. It's a long day. You know, it's 400 laps around here. It's tough, and working on it all day. And 12 boys stuck with us, so appreciate their effort. Ford, Roush Yates, Menards, and go to Kansas next week.
Thanks, Ryan.
You know, Noah Gragson mentioned that it was kind of lucky to get that finish, but he did run in the 12th position, average running position of 12th. This was a solid run for not only Stewart-Haas Racing, but the entire Ford camp that were kind of wondering when they're going to step up and get that win.
Yeah, because honestly, a big part of this race, the top 10, Ryan Blaney was the only Ford driver running inside the top 10, but right before that second set of green flag pit stops, Drew Blickensderfer, Noah Gragson's crew chief, had just brought him to pit road. He just had left pit road when that caution came out, so it was kind of a lucky break right there. But Noah in that 10 car and Drew, they're running good at all types of racetracks.
Yeah.
They had a top 10 at Vegas, top 10s at Daytona and Talladega, and now a top 10 at Dover.
Who cares if you're lucky?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
who
I mean,
cares
it's still,
where you
yeah, it's still the finish.
That's right. You qualified 5th, you finished 6th. It's good.
When you look at the stats at the end of the season,
It
or
doesn't
look
matter,
back,
yeah.
it doesn't say, hey, we got lucky with a pit call. So Drew Blickensderfer will be on the show on Tuesday on Race Hub, so we'll be able to.
He and Noah are just gelling. They've come together quickly.
Yeah, let's check back in with Regan Smith.
Alex Bowman comes home in 8th place today, but Alex, I know in the middle stages of the race, it looked like this 48 car was extremely fast. Was it just all track position at the end?
Yeah, I mean, both front fenders are broke too from the deal on pit road, so I'm sure that didn't help anything. But yeah, we were really fast in the middle segment of the race, just probably a little too tied to the top. Like I couldn't rotate the bottom like I wanted to, but I was too free on entry to really free the car up. So I could make a lot of pace up top. It just hurt the tires pretty bad. But all in all, an okay day for our Ally 48 team. 8th here is pretty bad for me, but I mean it's still a good points day and a step in the right direction. A little more consistency than we've seen. So hopefully we can keep plugging away at it.
Thanks, Alex.
Daniel Hemrick with a solid finish brings it home 9th, just like he did a week ago at Talladega. I know you guys have good fortune there with the way the caution fell, but you were able to capitalize. Take me through your day and how good this is for you guys.
Yeah, it's great for us. Super proud of everyone at College Racing, everyone on this Poppy Bank Chevrolet. You know, my first time going to all these racetracks mostly with this car, and probably led us a little bit in the wrong direction in practice, got ourselves too loose to start the race. Lost all of our track position that we started with, and once Trent Owens got me tightened up on the first pit stop, I thought, man, if we can ever find a way to get track position and put us back inside, you know, that top 10 to 15, I think we can run there on pace. And super rewarding to see once we got the track position with this Poppy Bank Chevrolet, catching the break there, that last green flag cycle, that we could hold our own. That's rewarding. So we're holding our heads high. I feel like a lot of people don't think we should be doing what we're doing, but I know each and every one of these people are capable of that, and I'm thankful for that.
Take that one to the bank, right, Jamie McMurray?
Yeah, there you go. He's banking on a good finish.
What a great finish for Daniel Hemrick. Let's circle back to Denny Hamlin, because this is, I mean, think about it. Last week he was celebrating in victory lane with his own team, with Michael Jordan, with Tyler Reddick, and now he goes out and wins this race, his 3rd of the season. And he just seems like he's in a different level right now when you see the speed that he has in that race car.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of what I saw in him just before the playoffs started last year. You know, his confidence level was at all-time high, but just think about it. He's leading laps in every single race. He's completing laps. He's winning races. I mean, they're right in the thick of things each and every week. And I'm going to tell you what, he knows if he doesn't make a mistake when he hits pit road, that 11 crew, they're going to take him to the top.
Yeah, and we're going to Kansas next week where Denny's been able to win. That's been maybe one of his best tracks on the circuit. Toyota in general being really good there. And to me, that Kansas, one of the most exciting tracks to go to. I heard Clint Boyer reference that actually during the race, just because of how wide that track has gotten. It's one of the best tracks we go to.
And with Denny getting the pit road thing down, hasn't that always been sort of the problem with this team, is they make mistakes? They've hit the speed, they get the wins, but they make the mistakes. You mentioned Clint Boyer in Kansas. Let's check in with Clint and Kevin and Mike Joy, the guys who called this race.
9 different leaders on an exciting day in Dover, but it was Denny Hamlin who led the most and finished first, but only by 1/4 of a second over a fast-charging Kyle Larson.
Well, they had a good pit stop and put Denny Hamlin in position to take control of this race, and he did just that. Took control of it until he didn't. Got beat in by Kyle Larson on the pit road, lost the lead again, and then took it back on a restart. So great day by that 11 team with a really fast car.
Track position game today. A lot of racing down on pit road, some mistakes, put some people behind, created opportunities for other. I like that aspect of it. I saw a lot of that today. Mishap on the back straightaway took out some strong running, what I call overachieving, like a Stenhouse. They were having a fantastic day. Unfortunately, got wiped out. And then Denny Hamlin, track position. Again, as soon as that car got in that clean air, lights out, boys.
Another great day for Noah Gragson, 2 top 5s in a row. Daniel Hemrick scores a top 10 on a big day in Dover.
Thank you so much, guys. All right, so we mentioned we're going to Kansas next week. Pretty good track for Denny, but also a pretty good track for 2311.
Oh, yeah, 2311. Yeah. I know Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace both. They are licking their chops. Tyler Reddick, when we won there in the fall, Bubba Wallace has won there. It's just a good racetrack. I know we'll be talking about Joe Gibbs Racing, and rightly so. Denny Hamlin won this race a year ago, but I think 2311. Tyler Reddick just was off a little bit all day today, finished 11th, but I guarantee that 45 car will be fast.
My gut tells me that William Byron, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott will go ahead and take that battle on right now, Larry, with 2311.
Are you saying you think it's going to be Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing? Yeah.
With a little sprinkle of 2311.
Yeah. We think that's how it's going to go. Kansas is a good track, right? It's a lot of fun. Guys have a lot of fun.
We're just talking about how wide that track is. Great track for us to go race.
We've seen some big crashes at Kansas, too. I guarantee you.
I got a stat for you, Larry Mack. This is the 11th race, and guess who won the race today?
The 11 car.
11 car. You can use that on Race Hub this week when you're on tomorrow, 6 Eastern, all week long. Next week we head to Kansas. Tune in Sunday. Race day starts at 2 Eastern on FS1, followed by Advent Health. Hey, we have the NHRA 4-Wide Nationals from Charlotte coming up next. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everyone.
I'm coming out.